Welcome to Current Exposure. We are live this evening and we are talking about the 2026 Newark Municipal Election. Let's get some eyeballs and ears into the live stream. Let's go. Let's go. Again, results of 2026 Newark Municipal Election. Let's scroll the ticker across the bottom of the screen on that. Good evening, William Hathaway. How are you? We're going to be discussing the election we had here in Newark. I'm going to bring on this evening Czezre Adams and Terrance Bankston. And we're going to basically break down the results of the election. And they're going to give us their insights on what they think the results mean going forward. And also, we're going to talk about what happened during the election. Some crazy stuff happened, and it was just mind-blowing how some people were kind of thrown off their game. Hold on one second. Yeah, let's give them a minute to get into the live stream. But yeah, some people were attacking and coming for people who weren't even candidates, which I thought was very weird. So we're going to talk about their experiences as well. I'm also going to talk about an experience I had where all right, let's go. All right, who do we have? We have Terrance Bankston. Welcome, Mr. Bankston. How are you?
Richard? I'm doing better now that I'm in the room.
Oh, yes. Good to see you, and it's good to have you.
Yes, ma'am. Good to be here.
All right. So, where do you want to start? Because we're going to try to cover a lot in this hour, from where the election started all the way to the runoff in the South Ward. And then we'll talk about what that means, what the election means for the future of Newark, the outcome, the results. What does that mean for us as a community?
Well, it still says that there's a lot more work we have to do. And I think some of the sentiments that are expressed about perhaps how our government is going, and sometimes, particularly with urban politics and all politics, I mean, look at what happens on the national level. We can get into what's called personality conflicts.
Right.
And becomes more about a person or an individual than it really becomes about the people. And
Right.
so a lot of my points I would like to frame with that in mind. And for 30 days, I really got to canvass and engage and communicate with residents about how they were feeling about this election or this recent election. And one of the things that was a common theme was disappointment, even for those who
Right.
were with candidates who were likely to win and did win. There's still a disconnect. There's still this sentiment of what people are saying that they are feeling about our national government: division,
Yes.
violence, intimidation, things
Yes.
that are opposite of our upbringings. And,
Right.
I was recently, before this, that's why I was also running a little late. I just got so caught up in watching the different speeches from the opening of the President Obama Museum. And and what they're talking about is not just about a building, it's not just about a park, but it is about purpose. And
Right.
when you make politics your profession, you're on, it's like being a celebrity. You're on a public platform. You only need to get 50% of the people plus one to
Right.
be on your side. And people often forget about what these leaders may have had to endure or sustain to maintain a certain level of integrity. And I think what was a sentiment that came from those that sang, definitely from Michelle Obama's speech, it wasn't so much about going high when they go low. It's about what is our standard. You
Right.
choose to be happy. You choose to be hopeful. You choose to be engaged. You choose to vote. And I tell people the idea that we are voting by staying
Self-control.
home is does a bigger disservice to our city and ultimately our state. And particularly when you think about the South Ward having the South Ward of Newark being the largest uh, single voter base in a whole state, how impactful we can be. When I
Mm-hmm.
think about Obama's election and when he was able to garner 20,000 votes, and that took people power, right? And it took
Right.
resources, but it also took
Right.
someone who said that I was going to push a story about hope and about
Right.
people, and that obviously
There was a mission, like you said, a purpose.
it was penetrating with people. And so what I saw was then, okay, the South Ward stood up, right? I use them as an example because of how dynamic that voter base is and my familiarity with it. But 20,000 votes for just the president out of that one ward. But we give our mayor 13,000 votes. We give previous mayors, what was it? 18, 20, 21.
Right.
I mean, before that, it was Cory Booker. But again, the more resources that are invested in these campaigns, you reach a larger voter base. Cory Booker, I believe, had gotten up to as high as 40,000 one time, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
And I think that was the Cliff Minor race. Either way, we saw these peaks, and what we're seeing now is a consistent low. And I don't think that's simply because of one man or one politician or one any particular elected official. The city is in, I would say, on a respirator in a sense, and we're pretending like the
Mm.
communities aren't sick,
Right.
And
Right.
that when you talk about, Dana Roan used to say this, and um, I started to incorporate it into when I would engage in campaigns, that we keep talking about these, we keep putting out these old anecdotes to guilt trip people of color into
Yeah.
feeling a kind of way or agreeing with things they don't agree with. When you talk about
Mm-hmm.
it takes a village to raise a child, but you skip over the fact that your village is sick and some of our
Right.
very own people are injecting um, the
Right.
poison.
Right.
You see that in the voter turnout, and you see that, more importantly, you hear that in the communities. I don't care whether it was younger people, middle-aged people, older people, people who was not that into what they call politics. They was just like, I want something new. There was
Right.
a heavy anti, nothing against the incumbents, personally for sure, but there was a heavy anti incumbent sentiment. And often what
Yeah.
happens in black communities, right? We
Uh-huh.
ignore those people that we don't want to engage. And so as long as
Exactly.
we can get
Exactly.
7,000 votes or 13,000 votes and we win, a person wins the election, then everybody is okay with that. You're still ignoring. I say it's not about the 100,000 people that's registered. We love to live up there. We never had that many people. We had them registered. They never voted. But what we should talk
Right.
about is the steady decline, even with the most popular politicians of this era.
Absolutely. And that's something that I also seen when I was out there helping the candidates that I assisted. People like they lost hope. They lost hope in the incumbents. And like Alphonse Willis said, they have lost hope, especially in politicians. That's why the numbers were low. But yeah, they got tired of the same old thing, the same old rhetoric without any accountable action. We have 60,000 plus people living in poverty in the city of Newark, and that has been consistent throughout the three terms of this administration. So, and like you said, those people, that includes disengaged people. That tells a story of what are you really doing? Is this just a job for you to get a paycheck because there's no mission behind it? Why aren't those people being uplifted? Especially when we've seen people come all the way from South America and start building and creating their own jobs in construction and repairing houses and all this other stuff and just making an effort but we still, they came within, I don't even know, within less than a year.
Right.
It hit the ground running, and we have people already here that's been in poverty for 12 straight years.
And I
No
wonder,
growth.
when I came up a couple of 8 years ago it was now 12 years ago. Yeah. 3 terms ago, guns and garbage. It was
Right.
more about a campaign. It was more about a message. Even people remember it now for a reason.
Yeah,
And
guns
the
and
irony
garbage.
of a statement like that is too many of us find it okay for us to live in that. Or if it's not my house, if it's not my block, I'm okay with it. And
And that's
so
not
we
cool.
really do have a city that's infested. Many communities that never was infested with not just roaches, rats and roaches. I
Yeah.
mean,
The
when
roaches
I was
are
living
back.
on Narren Place, the poisonous raccoons that was allowed to live in an abandoned house that been abandoned for I lost count. And we knew that this house was infested with significant rodents, huge rodents, big rodents, dangerous rodents. And it was traumatizing literally one half of Narren Place. But when we
Right.
think about what I tell people, just because some of us grew up with roaches turning on the kitchen light and they would scatter and we would stomp a roach, that's the one we should never want to forever live in that. We should never think that's okay.
Exactly.
But what I want people to know is that rats are not like mice. They are not like roaches. Rats and raccoons are one of the most environmentally unsafe, disgusting creatures that we have allowed to take over our neighborhood. And so even the environmental aspect of it, we're not doing enough. We implemented, as when I ran in 2010, and talked about and bragged about really the universal trash can program that
Right.
I researched in Baltimore, Maryland, because my mom and sister and one of my aunts lived down there. So I got to see it for myself and how it worked. When I
Right.
go through their alleyways they have, when their trash cans are put out, it does not look like the street is the trash can. And Baltimore is an urban city too. It's really
Right.
disappointing that we can. So what happened was when uh, Council won the first term, we shortly saw this universal trash can program being implemented. But what we didn't do is ensure that, one, it was adequate amount of cans for each community, because some of these houses have an abundance of people living in them, so one can ain't enough. I'm still walking by trash cans that are overflowing, and this was days I would see this, a whole trash cycle. I was driving down the street. So we're talking about services. We're talking about consistency. We're talking about how you treat everybody, whether you're elected, not elected, appointed to something. How you treat our community is how it's going to be. It's what it's going to look like. And so that can't be just one person's fault. But when we have people in leadership role and we are paying for a service, we expect to see it. For me to be riding down the Fabian Place, and we posted the video about this, I couldn't believe that at the opposite corner was one of our City of Newark sanitation trucks. It had just come down this small block, and literally the whole crosswalk looked like trash was just dumped on the ground. When I was growing up on Share Avenue, our trash service people, our sanitation teams had brooms and garbage cans and dustbins on the back of their thing.
On the back of the truck,
used to send us out there to clean up the gutter in between time. Never are you supposed to leave trash dumped on the ground. And that was just beyond what I can even see. And so when we talk about an administrator like Sharp James, it's a politician that people will disagree with, agree with. But one thing that's consistent is he was a great administrator. What does that mean? That for what your job or what it means to administrate, you were doing that. Services were not perfect, but they were being rendered. And there would be accountability for something like that. And so when we talk about, and again, we talk about history because it's supposed to remind us. I would like us changing what doesn't work for the vast majority, keeping what does work, but us having a true plan to make things better. Not better for the 13,000, not better for the voters, the least amount of voters that are now voting for ward council people in some of the most troubled areas. I would like to see us make a real commitment to doing that, and that it is more of the us and not just those who serve certain campaigns.
And you know, like I can't understand why would anybody celebrate. You know what I mean? Such a low turnout, and yeah, you got your 13,000 people to vote for you, but a whole a whole city was completely excluded. What is that? Like what? Almost 10%?
Yeah, and again,
ten
for me,
percent like so it and it's not and you know what, it's not even a top 10%
right,
in the city. I can see if it was, you know, thought leaders and critical thinkers and very responsible people who hold each other accountable
right,
with morals and principles.
right.
It's like we have the low 10% of the community. Like,
Well, it's a little bit of everybody. It's also about saying, well, what do we want in leaders moving forward? You know what I
I
mean? Do we
like
want
that.
them to just speak good? Do we want them to just point out issues with no solutions? What do we want? Do we want one voice and one band, or do we really want individual leaders serving in these roles? Part of how you get to this type of local political culture is when people seek to control versus collaborate. And so what
Right.
we see is what we witnessed in the first 90 days of the 2 terms ago in the West Ward was when the new councilman got elected. You saw him make an attempt to implement some ideas to organize the ward in a different way that was recommended by other candidates that had was running for the same seat. And I think he was being receptive. I'm not speaking for him at all, but it's by actions. It seemed like his office was being receptive of the fact
He's fake
that
though.
public people also seem to have liked this plan. Well, within the first 90 days, it was vetoed by the mayor's office.
Right.
So that set
Because
a tone right
yeah,
then and there within the
it
first
did.
90 days of the first term. And I don't know what steps didn't go through before, but once you are controlling your legislators from legislating and organizing in their wards without explanation, because again, what
Yeah.
what is better, because I grew up in this city too. I continue to work in this city. When I'm driving through communities, I'm seeing them get worse, not better. And
Right.
again, that's a little bit of everybody's fault, including the bad example we're setting for people who are just moving to our town and they get to see how we treat each other and treat our town. And so they say, well, hell, I can talk to them people they talk about from Brooklyn. About half of them going to tell you that this lack of responsiveness from government, this lack of services is unacceptable to them. The other half says y'all treat each other like hell. No wonder you can't get anything done. So these are new people that we're setting a tone for, to not just disrespect our city, but to not for us not to earn the respect we should have as individuals who are natives of the city and claim to really love the city. Respect is earned, trust is earned. And so when we again
Absolutely.
have losing the trust of those that live there, instead of building it,
Trust.
losing the respect of the trust of the respect of those that live there and truly from there. And again, we just set a horrible tone and example for those who are moving to the city of Newark, and to every ward, really.
Wow. And you know what? We got to have candidates that are genuine, because a lot of candidates were just in it for a job. And like you said, they see what's going on. Oh, this person's making money. He doesn't have to show up to work. He just goes to meetings. He's not even engaged in the community. And I can talk for the West Ward councilman because I live in the West Ward, and he's been absent the whole time. And with the initiative that he put out, he didn't even get community feedback or buy-in on it. So I think that's why it
Is that
didn't
the
go
one from the
through.
first term that I was referring to? Or is that
Uh,
something else that he's done?
yeah, that's from the first term, and
So you
that's all
think
he
that
and
that's
that's
why
all
the
he
mayor's
did.
team, that the mayor's office, the mayor vetoed it because he didn't think it was a well thought out plan?
I think the mayor vetoed it because he just threw it out there,
Uh-huh.
and he didn't have any buy-in from the community.
Hmm.
The community wasn't included. He had maybe 10 people that liked them and that wanted autographs, and that was it. There was no, he didn't have backing like a Donna Jackson.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Yes.
Where I think if that was something
That's
Donna Jackson put out there, it would have went through, because people would have showed up and said, "Hey, Mayor, this is what we want in our community.
This is what we want." Yes. Yeah, got it.
And then he didn't, have any meetings with the community to explain what it was. Like I said, there was no buy-in. It
might have also left like a bad, kind of like maybe threw off the colleagues now that I'm thinking about it, because he went with Sabor, I think, who was one of his aides at the time, and got the votes of his colleagues, right? And so they do represent the community. But if I'm this mayor, I may not have liked that play.
So, I mean, and there's some weird stuff behind the scenes with him complaining about the mayor taking his money for him to get in and all this other stuff. So yeah, it's messy. It's not even about the community. It's about two guys having personality clashes.
Mm-hmm.
And one guy has more people, more celebrity status actually as a mayor than the councilman has as an actual elected official.
Right. I can see that.
And I think that he thought that he was going to be able to translate his celebrity from the entertainment world, transfer it over into the community, and it doesn't work like that. You got to engage people. You have to knock on doors. You can't just start making changes without the people's buy-in, particularly homeowners.
I know the Upper West Ward well enough. They're very independent. I can remember when I was the constituent services director, they didn't have to call the mayor's office to get something done. If something was being done, they called the director and got it done themselves. I remember how strong, and it probably still is strong, the Upper West Ward is. I think what's happening
you can really do that. Yeah, you really, like, when I had issues with my trash not getting picked up.
Yeah,
I called DPW, sent them emails. Look, this is what's going on. I never even have to go through him.
Yeah, all. I remember the Upper West Ward for sure getting responses, and I think it was about respect, right? Department heads knew, don't let it come to the mayor's office, and stuff will happen, but for the mass part of that. And so when I think about a candidate, an elected official with the profile like Do It All,
he didn't match the community.
Working under a mayor like this, it's really the Baraka show. You understand? Like there will be no greater politician or bigger politician that comes out of that candidate, because it's the Baraka show. And you get into that type of mix in public, and you're a public employee. Basically, he's walking in the mayor's shadow. And I don't think that's what the West Ward expects. They expect collaboration, not control. Yeah. And not to be blocked in a certain way.
And that's how he came in, though.
Understood.
So when you come in with the mayor like this, he's gonna step on you you're never gonna get nothing done. He's gonna step on you every time. Even, let's say this guy gets a third term and Baraka gets a fourth, he's gonna continue to step on this guy.
So how do we change that type of energy? Because it's similar in the South Ward. You're just not dealing with a rapper. You're dealing with a best friend of the mayor. You see, but it's the same idea.
We need somebody that matches the community. You can't go celebrity for celebrity on this, because you're just not going to win the Baraka show.
Takeaways from Donna Jackson's victory. I think that's what the voters were saying. Like, I don't want this. I don't want that. I'm going to show you what I want.
Exactly. And
it wasn't a bare win. It was a good, solid win. Very much earned. Yeah.
Right. You gotta match the community. You can't just expect, I want to run. I'm important in this area, this over here in this world, and now I'm gonna be important in the political world. It doesn't work like that. And you know very well, you've been involved in politics consistently. You gotta be ready for this. You gotta be civic minded. You got to know first of all, you got to know the key terms, what an ordinance is. You got to know also when you're putting out new initiatives, you got to check and make sure that one doesn't already exist.
Right.
And then also you got to tap into your constituents, not fight with them or, go back and forth with them. You got to build that trust.
Too, you don't want to continue to just talk to yourself or people you deem as your supporters.
Exactly.
Particularly as a public figure. Now, if you have fans and you're an artist and you just want to talk to your fan group,
exactly.
that's different to me than a politician doing it.
We're not fans.
Feel like once you're elected, I always say it's governing time. I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican, this, that, whether I voted for you, never voted for you, never will vote for you. I expect for you to be of service to me as a business owner, as a resident, and as a stakeholder there. And I believe that there's too many of us who feels like either we're never going to get it, things going to always be the same. You have that group. And then you just have that group that say, you know what? I'm just worrying about my house, my family. I'm going to take my kids out on 22 or to New York or wherever and just come here and sleep here. I'm not going to even be bothered with anything else. And you can tell the difference around those homes. They the cleanest homes on the block. The grass is landscaped, no matter number block or section. No matter where you go, the attitude of the people, voters, reflects what those communities and even blocks, look like. And I just don't know how we ride through it and we say, well, we're doing such a great job. It's like.
And I have a great comment from Westwood resident Pamela Daniels. She said it's about fearless accountability measures.
Yes,
he should have kept pushing and expectations around the agenda. Hold them to his agenda. And how are you prioritizing your Westwood residents and that agenda distinctly from the mayor's agenda, which is citywide, not ward specific? And to her point, our councilman was always downtown. That's not the West Ward.
Not yet.
You're downtown, right? Exactly. Like,
well, I was having a funny conversation with some folks because I was like, I like the community. Events. I know who they are, but I don't believe certain Black politicians specifically likes hanging out in their communities. And why I focus on Black because I'm Black, but I also grew up having friends in every ward, working in every ward. Right. I do know that the Northwood leadership, whether you talking about the councilman before Nebo, Hector Conchado, whether hung out in their ward, right. You know what I mean? At their local, even if it's their favorite one. But I mean, it's several spots that they have, and they just, they do their thing in and engage. So there you're going to engage your supporters, and you got to engage a resident that don't know who you are, or one that's been meaning or wanting to say something to you, right? But what I know about our community, I do hang out in the South Ward and the West Ward and even the Central Ward. I don't really bump into our politicians unless it's at maybe a chateau or definitely down in the Ironbound. So to your point, I think that and I'm not judging or grading them on that. I'm saying sometimes we could be operating in a mode and it could just be because we overwhelmed or maybe we don't feel like being bothered. But if we're not being intentional, so if it's intentionally dodging the people, is it intentional or be intentional about, I'm going to make sure I'm engaging in the community in these ways, not just in the mayor's events or not just in a press conference or a ribbon cutting.
Exactly. And that's why I said
I'm on take some neighbors and invite them to Kings, and be in there for a couple of hours. I like to take my team and get some work done, and then we plan some events while we're sitting in that. So these are just, examples of what we're being critical of. I should guess.
Like
sitting in the right same place, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, listen, Mr. Bankston.
I live in the ward. I can tell you that.
Right, I live around the corner from where he lived. I used to see him outside.
That's the name of the street. He lived on Sanford, right? We're talking about Senior, aren't we?
Sanford Place. Yes. Okay. Yeah, right there. Sanford Place in Marsac.
Yes.
He used to be outside. And when he ran, every time for senator, he came and knocked on our doors. It was just him. No detail behind him. no kid trying to get your signature.
Even when they put him off the line, he
him.
won off the line too. He reminds me, Donald Tucker reminded, I don't know who's older. I think it's Senator Rice, but they remind me of each other in terms of they had people power for real, and that was there. So if they wasn't a part of a ticket or in the bracket, they were still coming in, and I'm talking about number one and number two. So yeah, it does make a big difference. Absolutely.
Right. You can't just be, coming up with and ideas for the community, and you're not even in the community.
Right.
It's kind of like, no disrespect to any white people, but white people coming into Black communities and telling them, oh, we know what's good for you all. This is what you need to do here. This is how you need to do that. And it's like, wait a minute. Right. That's not what we need. Or how about find out what we already have going?
That's the approach I take in my work. I don't just work in New Jersey, Newark, Elizabeth, but I'm also in Charleston, South Carolina. I'm in Wilmington, Delaware, Baltimore, Maryland, Savannah, Georgia, New Orleans, South Louisiana, Houston, Washington. My approach to the work is getting to know the community first. And I can't do that through Zoom. So I'm in the communities 2 to 4 times a year, learning about what's important to them. And what I see is that now what I have to offer becomes even more important to them. It's not just enough to say the air is fucking up our kids, it's fucking up our women, we have to also, that community dealing with other things too. And so for so long, many communities that we know that was doing social and climate and environmental justice wasn't doing what I focus on, which is called port advocacy. They was focusing on shipping advocacy. And we thought there wasn't a difference. We thought, hey, it's all the same. But that's, again, how the system is structured. And then what happens? Our local politicians play into it because they don't know the difference. And they end up supporting projects at a port that actually hurts us, even their own children, that live in the city or live in these different communities. And so it's just like telling us we got to choose between clean air and clean water. And it's 2 different funding processes instead of having that conversation in one sitting with us. So my approach to your point is most of the EJ communities I work in, their number 1 or number 2 issue is going to be workforce development. Workforce development is not what my job does. That's not what my career is. But do I have the skills to offer to that community workforce development? Yes. Where did it come from? North, when I was running the one stop. And so what the connection is not to just jobs and careers, period. We are displacing and allowing our residents to be natives to be displaced because they can't afford to live there. Meaning, while we have this abundance of quote unquote green jobs and careers that we are not making sure they get access to, let alone getting those careers, not just the job. And these are, again, I love to say careers because these are places that they can work in and not only provide for their family, but it can change their lives, both in just experience they can learn and also in the income and resources that they bring to their house. And so, yes, I wholeheartedly agree with that. But I think that any nonprofit, any entity that's serving people should wake up every day and say, how can I be of service today? And if you don't feel like that, then don't do this work. And then the other aspect is exactly what you're saying. Care about what the people on 18th Avenue, 14th Avenue, 11th Avenue care about, not just the people on this thing, because that community is slightly different. There's
and that too. Those things. Right. Like for an example, like we have a Dunkin' Donuts.
We have
2 Dunkin' Donuts in the West Ward. The one on South Orange Avenue. This man cannot operate his business because of the substance abusers are always in there harassing the customers for change, or they're high, falling down on the table, or they're outside of the drive-through. People, it affects his business. And as a council person, if you're really in a community, you should know that. And you should have initiatives set up to address that issue. and on South Orange
one of the
Avenue.
things idea that comes to mind. See, this is the kind of thing I used to do with my team when we were just sitting around. Somebody come up with a problem. It's like we sit in the youth one stop and come up with a solution. We're not going to just talk about the kids didn't get paid, the workshop wasn't open, the workshop got kids washing personal cars. No, how are we going to stop this now and stop this from happening in the future? To your point, instantly I think of, I would put one of my aides on that. Go up there, arrange once a week or something to go up there with substance abuse services that the city and the county offices, and just go work that area and do it in collaboration with that business and be consistent about it. Do it for a month straight, once or twice a week, once on the weekend, once on the weekday. You got to show people that you care and how you want the community to be treated, else they're going to continue to run over it.
Exactly. And then we lose businesses or businesses that don't want to come here. Because they're
like, not gonna get quality workers. They're gonna only get people who want to work there, and it's gonna be people who don't mind fighting with customers, who don't mind spitting back on customers, because they're not going to tolerate that disrespect.
And you know what? The workers that actually work there, they're nice young ladies, and they get harassed. So you're right. They're gonna leave. They're gonna leave, and we're gonna get people that don't care about how they're making the coffee or whatever the donuts. Yeah, we're gonna get a low quality business. And
I can go through the North Ward, Bloomfield Avenue, this one. I mean, if there's one, I'm sure, but I know there's several chicken shacks and restaurants and this, and I just don't see that type of energy overwhelming those businesses.
Right.
Whether it's not allowed, or whether it's because of the community looks cleaner, so people treat it differently, almost like that South Avenue syndrome. When you pass Seton Hall, you don't throw trash out, but all people you throw trash out.
So you get the Newark, and I've seen people do it. I'm like, oh wow.
From Newark, I'm saying too, like
exactly.
It's an automatic turn off switch,
Wow, and then we have like a whole business quarter on South Orange Avenue that's underdeveloped. And then we have we really it's really not booming like it should be because of the element. You got drug deals going on.
I'm also thinking, who do they ultimately want to, whoever the day is, who do they ultimately want to be in control of this? Because what's happening, the blight is intentional. Certain people of certain interests want things to get to its absolute worst, so that a certain group of people will have a permission slip, basically, to fix y'all problem.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
And we don't need that. We don't need that. We already know what we want on South Orange Avenue.
Right.
And what can be on South Orange Avenue.
Well, you know you don't want what you have. I could tell you.
Exactly. And like Pamela said, artistry and excellence and workmanship is not valued anymore. Yeah, it's junk. We got junk going on.
Mm-hmm. And some people will hear that and feel like the criticism is saying they're junk. No, but if you have a junky mentality and you bring that into your workspace and it's about people, it's going to come into your workspace. That's why they tell you leave stuff home, leave it at the office.
Exactly.
It's the same principle. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And again, people have gotten away from principle, and people have been allowed to be inappropriate and misbehave, and it's been rewarded or covered up to just
right.
Yeah,
I mean,
and people are reading about it. People are talking about it, and social media, for many of these politicians, they grew up in an era where there was no social media. They didn't have to deal with this type of level of scrutiny and exposure. They
got away with
young people and with whisper campaigns, they called it.
Yep.
And now you can't necessarily get away with whispering simply behind people's back. But again, when our government becomes known culturally for those type of things versus transforming people and places within the city, we again more hurtful than helpful to even those who are in office, whether you're getting paid or not.
Exactly.
When I tell people that North politicians, that they're part-time positions and they make, I think, $105,000 now, they can't even fathom it.
And you know what's crazy about that? When you start holding them accountable, they'll use the excuse, "Oh, I'm part-time. Okay, you know what? Your salary needs to drop then."
Versus increase. And
Right.
I don't know if you need 5 legislative aides. I just don't see. I've always been critical of that. I think that the staff can be downsized. I think, and when you look at what the money is, it's really not going to be that much. That's sometimes people excuse they don't transfer things because they ain't saving that much. Every little bit count.
It
could hire
does.
20, 30 more youth during the summer, or pay for other staff people that are needed for offices that are understaffed. Or maybe it's a team of people outside of the clerk's office that also works on behalf of the whole council, like the that one extra aide that the council president gets, who kind of supposed to be a little a public servant for each of the council people. Maybe it's not that you just you restructure our government in a sense. One thing I learned about corruption and one of the reasons why New Jersey is known as one of the most corrupt states is because we don't like to fix the corrupt stuff because we think it's a way to get over. And so we just leave it alone and let it be. No, we really should be. And that's probably what new people want to hear. Maybe new residents will be excited about saying, let's restructure the government. Or if you don't want to restructure it, you're going to come in and help to get it back healthy to what it needs to be. And we can do that in collaboration with the people who are in office and people who will be in office in the future. I'm saying that unity is the best path forward. But again, what unity looks like for people, particularly who's been trained to be of a different mind frame or simply don't have those transferable skills.
Right.
And
we got to be real about that.
And you got to separate. You got to separate those people you cannot get transformational things done with.
Exactly. Look. This Pam Daniels is on a roll. She said it's also about outputs and impact. Yes. Like you said, with those people, if we're not getting output from you, if you're not being impactful in your role as an elected official or a public servant, whether you're an aide or whatever, you have to. We can't keep you there. We can't sustain like this.
Well, that's what we have to
be. You're not producing.
And I think the message there is the answer is not to get fed up and not vote, because that's what I'm experiencing with a lot of Newarkers. I had many people tell me I'm only voting for Donna Jackson. And I'm talking about elders, people with PhDs. All right. It's not just one demographic. One thing I can say about her race, she crossed all demographics. Absolutely. I couldn't go to one ward or one place without people saying retired police officers, current police officers. What about Donna? What you think about Donna? And during certain weeks from the 15th on, I couldn't really talk about other candidates because of a contract I had and in general. But
yes. And and that's what makes her unique, because she's out there engaging with them. You could call her, she'll show up. Hey, Donna, I got rodents. Where? What address? Where you at? I'm on my way.
What we need with that is not just Donna to go chase the rats and roaches. That's not. Donna has been chasing. Part of when she said during the next day and became a conversation, because I don't think many people realize that Donna didn't work. And I'm like 43 years old. So when she says over 40 years, the work she was doing was a different kind of work. It
was public work. It was community service.
It pretty much was community service. Yes. It pretty much was community service. And what needs to happen now is, so for all of my life, I've seen this lady run to try to put out fires. I'm talking about all kind of fires. It ain't just rats.
Literal fires.
It's education. It's all over. It's what the operations of City Hall, it's sanitation, every single place. She would just be there. Now what we need is for people to be there for her.
Exactly.
Right? When she's advocating for those issues, so that she's not just pointing out those issues, she has to have the people power to force those people who've been allowing this to go this way, stay this way. Why are you taking money from developers if the place is rat infested? Exactly. Stop taking their money and start shutting them the hell down and getting those people relocated until this place. And once it's rat infested, blow the whole building up, get rid of it. Right. Come up with a transition plan for these people now. Roaches, all of those things should be addressed. The fact that we allowed damn near the whole South Ward and too much of the West Ward to become like Irvington is still, with rats pretty much take over the whole community and sit on your trash cans. That is not the Newark that we're supposed to be at all.
Exactly.
Or the Newark we have to be. Let me say that.
Exactly. Hold on. Yolanda Snowden said nobody is actually working, if you ask me. and Erica Bennett
Which is a
agreed
sad
with her.
perception. You know, it's people really do feel that way, and in certain cases, people
Yeah.
aren't working. People are
Right.
absolutely in no-show jobs, and it's no-show even if you're sitting in the seat but don't have the skills.
There you go, and
If you
that's what
just
Che
sit
brought
there
up.
and
He said they deserve
what he
more
said, that's what I got
training.
to.
He said they deserve more training and development. I agree with that, because some of them
Workers
is
should
not
know
their
be
fault.
saying, "I want training and development." They got to know that they worth training. They got to want training and development. Because if the mayor, when the mayor is no longer mayor and he wants to retire, who's going to hire you?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And what skills are you going to take to another employer that's transferable from what you learned or what you was allowed to do as a city employee versus where else you may have to go?
You know what? They will never be able to get the city jobs that they have now in any other city. I'm telling you that. That it's only allowed in Newark, and I get it. I get it. You want to uplift your friends,
for the
but
city either. I want to see people work in other places. Let me see you work for the state. Let me see you work in here and there. All of this hiding behind the city resources, Newark Housing Authority, then it's fucked up there. Public schools, but it's fucked up there. You know, everywhere that the placeholders are is not operating in its best to the best of its ability.
And it's not. It's really not. And it's getting. It was obvious before, but right now it's just blatant. It's blatant.
Well, I think because people are getting fed up, and there's been other people who've been a part of the benefits club. They are now turning on each other because it's like, how you get in and how I ain't getting in, and how it's not about how can I be of service.
Right. How can we collaborate and build together? Like you said, we got to get those 60,000 people out of poverty.
Yes.
We can't just leave that like that.
There's so much more. I used to say too about like our school board, even our election commission. You can do it in a way that doesn't have people vote for. I mean, that you ain't telling people who to vote for. But why are we not promoting through our public schools in a more aggressive way school board elections? Because people in charge don't want parents voting. They want to say parents don't vote. If you don't overdo it and be consistent, and all the time y'all popping up is when it's election time, and you want us to, and the people who are in favor in that particular season want to keep the race short. So you're talking about 45 days.
Yeah.
And we playing into the system instead of pushing back on the system. And the pushback is not always running against it. And it's not just engaging it when it's election season. You got to be on the ass all year around.
People forgot in that short period of time that we were underserved in the West Ward when the councilman came out, started doing street namings. Now people are like, oh no, nothing's wrong. It's great. I'm like, giving out awards, community service awards. You know, anybody could go to the award store, the trophy shop, and make a plaque. But they were so
paying for it anyway.
Right. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, so you sold out for false recognition. And on top of that, you just brought the whole community down with you.
We had somebody had a street renamed after them, and they were pretending to be a doctor and sexually assaulting the so-called clients, but we have named the street intersection after them. Or if it was named already, take that shit down now. I mean, we again applaud mediocrity, and it's not about people making mistakes. That's just deplorable.
Right. And see, Westwood is in the house. Shout out to the Westwood. This lady says, I have literally been asking to pray for a community fridge in Ivy Hill for over 2 years, and he pushes me off to Hector or his other aide. I explain I can't keep giving things out of my trunk or at my house all the time. I'm willing to put in the work to make it happen. And see, you have like an asset like this in your community.
What a great idea. I would
work with her. Like,
I would work with, pick a few nonprofits, maybe one or two at first, and get that done through them and push through the politician. Because I remember Jack from Green Street Cafe when it was open, and I was the director of constituent services at the time. And he used to always say, I've been trying to get a trash can in front of my restaurant right across the street from City Hall. He said for 10 years. I'm like, We made a call. We got it the next day. I didn't understand. To me, I don't understand that concept.
I would
The
get
man want a
on
damn
it.
trash can. Get him a trash can so people don't litter in front, across the street from City Hall or in front of their businesses. That's what they were saying. Simple task. And this man took years to get that done, and it took getting to a person that cared enough to get it done.
Exactly.
So I can imagine refrigerators can be donated by business owners.
Exactly.
And partnerships can be formed with nonprofits. It doesn't even have to be an expense to the city. But again, I don't know what the delay is with that. But oftentimes, if people can't get the credit, they don't want to do the collaboration.
And that's wild to me.
I'm not saying that's wild. I don't know, but again, this is how government.
But no,
government falls short at here.
Right, and that's been an ongoing theme in this administration, though, and I think that's wild. And like you said, I don't know if that's with him, but with the Barakas, if it's not putting them in the spotlight, they're not doing it, and it's like, so we all have to suffer. So now we can't get our needs met because XO nonprofit is going to look like the hero, and they're going to be the ones shining. Like, what? Who cares? Just get it done. Just get it done.
All the nonprofits I work with across this country, I love amplifying the work they're doing, amplifying their words. I love supporting them in terms of the ideas and the concepts that they didn't even know was feasible. To me, that's what makes this work even tolerable. Other than that, I don't know why people would want to work with the public and you don't like the public.
I'm confused about that too.
Yeah.
I'm confused about that.
Yeah.
Like, how can you not be a people person but take a public service job? You're dealing with people all day. Like this lady, Erica Bennett.
Yes.
I wouldn't dare push her off because you're my constituent.
I would have definitely had a meeting
I gotta talk
with some nonprofit leaders, like in the health department, like how can we get this done?
Right, and then I would bring you in. Like, listen, Ms. Bennett, I'm gonna let you spearhead this. You know what's needed. I'm just a conduit.
Community should be spearheading more things. That's why things are not working as best as they could, because we're not allowing the experts to lead.
Right. The fame will come. The paycheck is going to come every 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying?
And again, the talent pool that is coming up in the city is not going to tolerate this.
Exactly.
And we're going to lose great people, and the future of the city is going to be very different.
Right. And you when you have people who are hungry to do the community work, you gotta give them that avenue. You gotta give them that path before we lose it.
Yeah, and it's kind of challenging because there's so much special interest just in neighborhood development space to raise money for nonprofits outside of the government giving you a grant that they going, dangle in front of you.
Exactly.
To do a dance for them versus actually transform the community. And what happens with that is because we're not putting in the innovative work, we're not able to compete for the grant money that's really out there that could help these communities. We're really leaving it on the table. And part of me believes is that there's people who have an interest in the city going through gentrification.
Right. And I'm like, and that's what I'm seeing. I'm like, wow, this is so disheartening.
Yeah. I had a conversation recently with a group of media first who want to follow a few different stories. But one of them, I told them, I said, take out just a me experience. I want you guys to go and be journalists. Go research. Go compare senior sites and tell me what the difference is. There are differences.
Right.
Go do. Why are people from Gibson and all the way through the current administration saying that this is the most ghetto City Hall has ever been? Why are generations saying that? They're not just making that up. Journalists need to go do their job.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Because it is what I told them. It's a pattern of behavior. And that's the problem. Not that people don't make mistakes. Not that anyone is expected to be perfect. I don't expect magic from leaders. I expect you to lead.
Right. Absolutely.
And leading means Yes, following at and knowing when to follow at times, but it also means you're taking it's a movement that's taking the mass majority of the people from here forward.
Right.
That regardless of what the young man's or young lady's aspirations are in the North Ward or all the way on the other side in the South Ward by the hillside line, that they too have the same opportunity anywhere in this city. That's what we should want. That our
Exactly.
seniors should be treated the same in every city. That's what we should want. That our
Exactly.
schools are held to the same standard and treated, provided adequate resources.
Exactly.
The same. That our rec centers, that we have a robust recreation calendar. Where is it?
Exactly. And you know what? I'm glad you brought that up because I was like off work one day. I took a personal day just to
Yep.
ride around in the Westwood.
Sometimes we gotta take more than one. We call them mental health days now.
Right, right. And you know what? My mental health days ends up being community work. So it's like,
Yeah.
school is in session, right? And I'm like, why is the rec open? Where are the kids? The kids are at school. There's no programs for the seniors. So why is the rec open unoccupied? We're spending money.
I used to say that all the time, even under the Book administration. One of the things I wanted to do if he had done another term is to
And then it
basically
closed
revamp the recreation program.
Right.
It's not servicing when it needs to service. It should be open in the evening and on the weekend.
Thank you. And it closes at 5 o'clock. The kids just got out of school.
Which tells me, what were you planning all day? The people that work in there, what were you doing?
They were doing nothing. They were standing around.
Then the lights are still dim. Even when they got the new, what was it called? The not the Trek Center, the one, the other one down in the Dayton Street area. Trek is on Hawthorne. That one's called the something else, but the big building on the Newark Housing Authority property.
Right, I forgot the name of it.
One of the newest builders, newest facilities, basic technology, and I can't tell you how many things was put on the calendar and then canceled. They became known for canceling programs. It's like, so I don't know. And then now, what goes on in there? How's that space?
Exactly. And like,
again, what we put in space, we put these murals up, but where's the technology for them to engage?
Exactly.
Where's the studio for them to do podcasting and record? That's what other places are doing.
It needs to be AI stuff.
That's what other places are doing. Other major cities are creating these spaces in public spaces and also in nonprofit spaces, because that's what the students, that's what younger people need.
Exactly.
Access to that type of information. Younger people, to me, is 44 and younger. Those people are still looking for careers.
Oh, somebody said Trek.
Trek, yes. Yep.
Trek. And then they had I know they had a homeless.
So event. Trek is that one. Then it's not called Trek on Hawthorne. That's called the NAN Center. Trek is the one I'm talking about. Yeah, Trek was the one I was talking about though. Now the NAN Center has some stuff going on, and then it just seems like everything was anti-balance, and then once the street team got their own place, I don't know what's going on now.
Not much. We have Czezre who's joining us. Welcome, Czezre. Can you hear us?
Yeah, can y'all hear me?
Yes. Oh yeah, man,
I'm trying to get this StreamYard thing working.
You missed a lot. We missed you. We Terrance was on the roll.
Yeah, I'm trying to get this StreamYard thing work.
Yes. But yeah, again, we need our recs open on the weekends. And if the people that they have working there can't work weekends and evenings, then we need to find staff that can.
I think the department needs to be restructured.
I agree.
I'm not even sure if, it needs to be under neighborhood services anymore, because if
we need new programming.
Recreation and sanitation suck. If the answer is more money, then we need to stop wasting money, because I know money is being wasted. And where is there this long-term plan, right? It shouldn't take 20 years to get the adequate equipment or figure out another alternative. Right. And when it gets that bad, that's when we're supposed to be pressing the federal government. What are they doing?
Exactly. Somebody said something about the voting. William Hathaway. Let me go back to what he said. Okay. He said, is it voter fatigue during the time if a 3-month span you have school board, municipal, and primary? Do you think
it's also that I always say we suffer from fatigue, but we've been doing that. Apathy, fatigue. I mean, on any given, like this was one of those years, I think, when we're gonna have 4 elections in 1 year. And what people are saying is that they don't really know the candidates to be impressed with them.
Wow.
People, but imagine, it's hard to reach that amount of people in that short period of time. And so what you're telling people is you got to start sooner. But these people don't have money to run for office. We've been talking about campaign reform since I don't know when. Now it's at the point where it's only keeping the old people in, blocking out the younger people. When we let a younger person in, look how they chop their feet off or their head off. As soon as they get it, they don't even give them enough time. I don't want to list say people. That's how I don't want to take a person. 1 minute they here, next minute they gone. But they were supposed to be the answer and the voices of the young people. And so I think it got to the point where they couldn't control them. They moved them and they put them somewhere else. But again, they're not there long enough to actually make, I think, the long-term and impactful change or grow into the role, right? Everybody won't become sharp change overnight or start off the more. If you're going to spend some time in there, I'd rather see the politician growing, not getting older.
Exactly. And that going back to Donna Jackson, that is what makes her unique. She's been doing the work already for decades.
She's and people know her. Do it like how they used to do in the North or how George Branch would do it sometimes, or how Tucker did it. He was the one that did the most. They would bring residents down there. I don't know any other council people that really had a history with doing that. Like, say they try to get something done, move. Those people will have their residents coming down there, like, Gail Trainfield. How can I forget? She had her little beehive or whatever you call it too.
Right. I think Donna Jackson is definitely going to have a beehive.
Yes, me too. I think she's gonna have whatever Rihanna got, whatever Cardi got. She's gonna have all three at once.
For real. So Czezre, what are your thoughts on this election? How it went?
Let's get a break, Czezre.
Right.
What's my thought on this election? Depending on what race you want to talk about. So my thoughts on this election is it kind of went exactly how I thought. Yeah, it went kind of how I thought it was going to. I think what Terrance said was true, is that a lot of people didn't know the candidates.
How is that though? As a candidate, why don't people know you? People know Terrance. People know you. People know me. You know what I'm saying? How are you running and nobody knows you? How would you even run?
And this lady told me, and then she like, well, I've been here forever. I ain't never known you. So what I learned is you can never know enough damn people, because
I'm about to say
you can have a certain level of popularity. I believe when you want to make history and change, you really do got to take a page out of Cory Booker's book. Without all those millions of dollars, $7 million, I think he had. But he campaigned every day for 4 years after he lost the first time.
This, like Fakira Bradley said, because they have not been outside.
So I don't think it's just people just haven't been outside. Okay, so let's just go back to my my first election.
Wait, you went off.
He still did though. We can't see him.
Can you hear him? Czezre? Tony Walker says people are afraid of change.
Yes, they are.
People, you know what? Let me backtrack. They've been outside, but they've been in their silos.
Yeah, sometimes we just talk to the same people, but again, it's a numbers game. You need a certain amount of votes to win an election, right? And what you have at play is 2 big challenges for candidates. Who's teaching them how to run for office? And can they afford people like me to help them, right?
Right.
If they need it. So then
That too.
that's one thing, right?
That
Because
too.
a lot of me was I
that
wasn't
too.
taking money from everybody, but I was raising the most money. But my money was coming from community people, not corporations and all this other stuff.
Right.
And it is a resource thing. In order to reach voters, in order to mail, in order to go on air, in order to have paid canvassers, because you can pray for volunteers, and if you get them, that's great.
Right.
But when you're competing up against a machine and they're putting a paid canvas team out there on you and using city hall employees doing city time to work against you, you have to deal with all of that as this independent candidate. But the people that won, they win with a little bit of votes, and they are able to ride one politician's coattail into office, depending on the seat that they're running for. So it's a combination of a few different things, but it's not just that they're not outside. Because I used to tell people, you can't canvass. It takes 3 to 6 times, really, to get the right person at the door canvassing. Now, imagine how exhausted that is. And if somebody got a full-time job, if they got kids, none of those things can keep us out of office. No more should they keep people who are not doing things in office. So I think we need to mix it up a little bit. And I know back in the day we used to say reform, and I don't think we need reform. I think we need to tear down and rebuild and start the hell over with many in terms of the way we go about doing things. And 2, a lot of it is connected to our elections. I just don't think we needed to become like Irvington and East Orange, because that has been a push or a movement before where they want to pretty much, the Democratic Party want to control our elected officials too, more directly. So like in East Orange and Irvington, when they still put them on the line and all that stuff, we don't do that. But our line has become the mayor.
Does everything.
Yes.
You know, it's not done. People think this is how Cory Booker did it. He didn't. All 9 of those people were on his elect report. There's a reason why. And if you're not on somebody's elect report, that's not a real team. You don't want, if the money ain't connecting you, you ain't got no real loyalty.
Right.
Anyway, so the entire Booker team, all 9 candidates were on, was a part of his team. And that was the approach he chose to take. And some people didn't agree with it, but it was a real team, a whole team. Now, when you look at these, what would I say? The Sharp James, which is probably, I would say, my favorite era of how we would do things. I like that he gave a check to a little bit of everybody, unless they was too shady towards him. And you had to get to that runoff by yourself on your own. He wants to see what you bring and to say what you work with. At least that's how I saw it.
That too.
Then once it came to runoff, he like, all right, I'm let me see who the people said they wanted. All right, I'm gonna go grab you too and help bring you up over the people. And there was, I think, a more healthy back and forth where we just had collectively a different energy of council people in the era I grew up in, and the one before I came into City Hall. I mean, people used to brag about our elected officials, not that they didn't complain about them, but people really did admire, not just Sharp James. Council people would be complimented as well.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, we're far cry from a Dana wrong.
Hey, Aunt Dana.
And and these folks, we want them to stand on the shoulders of Wyona Littman. Are we standing?
No, we're not. We're crawling.
You know what I mean? I'm just saying, compare. You know,
we ain't crawling.
So, Czezre, you was gonna mention something about your election, or Shakim, you was about to ask him about when he ran or something like that to me.
Yeah, so I don't think it's necessary that. So I do agree with Terrance. It's, you could never know too many people. You can't. But then secondly, like, for my election, people didn't even know my government for a long time. Like,
wow.
When I ran in 2014, people was like, "Who the hell is Czezre? Like,
wow,
who is that?" And I'm like, "Y'all, it's Pork Chop." And they was like, "Oh crap! I didn't even know. I never knew that was your government name." So a lot of times, like that plays a factor. Yeah. I think again, you're never going to be able to reach or know too many people in Newark. And then also, it's just people just don't want to be involved at all. And I think people are choosing not to be involved. And at some point, there has been a breakdown. I don't want to say under who administration or what, but somewhere or what generation is at fault. But somewhere there's been a breakdown to where the civic engagement has just been shot in the foot. I think we do need. I mean, me personally, I do think we need election reform. I do think the election season, to me, people think we don't need a longer time, but I do think we do kind of need a little bit of a longer time than the allocated time that's given to us. Because we pull out petitions in January. The signatures is deadline is March.
Okay.
The election is literally May.
Okay, but why not still be out in the community before that?
You don't need that long to get signatures, or why not make the petition period much longer? Just let people elect as many signatures as they want.
That's
how you can meet more people. And
I like that.
You know what I'm saying?
I like
Give
that.
everybody access to the van system and host a training in the Robert King, our favorite place, and let them be able to sign up for free and come learn about how that system works. And if they get certified as a candidate, give them access. Government should pay for that. Board of Elections should pay for that. We got to start doing those kind of things because we still living in, like, we voting on one of them, like we putting votes in a box type thing.
Right.
And they manipulate these systems. Part of where the breakdown happens is because in certain wards, they don't allow the Democratic Party to be active. Only meet when the mayor wants you to meet. Only meet when there's an agenda item that's about an election that they care about. Whereas it used to be like a fan club under Bradley, and he wasn't even in charge of the party. Everybody knew Payne's were, but everybody had a little piece. Even Baraka came in and got him some pieces. Only people that didn't get pieces was Booker, because they wanted me to sell out district leaders that we trained for a freeholder seat. And I said I couldn't do that to those people. It's like 50 of them. And from the South Board, and we recruited them, we trained them. They would never forgive me for that. Over a freeholder seat, great. But see, those are the kind of deals and compromises young people, smart people are put in. And that's not the first time I didn't do. One time I was on the school board and Shavar said something I didn't appreciate. And I got off that ticket that day. And we did the photo shoot the day before. You gotta teach people how to treat you.
See, and that's the thing. Like, you have integrity. And I
got self-value. Integrity, yeah. My grandfather was Earl Johnson, first black executive of Con Edison, and the other one was Willie Bankston, a blue collar, a business owner in the South and also up here. That, and none of my uncles, none of them, no man in my family doesn't have integrity. We had to have integrity. But what we do have is a value of self. And when you have a value of self, you take honor in your work because you see it as it is a blessing to be able to work for people full time. Like love people, like being a part of a community, helping people advance. That feels good to me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So for me, it's different. I think certain people want to get into something like the burgundy seat. I'll tell you, before you go do that, go buy one. You can buy you a burgundy seat. It don't make you powerful because you sit in the seat or because you get elected. Sometimes
trust me, yes, you're right.
Bring attention to the race, to bring energy into it. Everybody, you don't have to. One, I don't think it's like fair to tell people, well, you shouldn't run because you can't win, right? Because it's just like sports. How am I gonna make it to the finals, Knicks, if I don't play? Just because I don't think I'm gonna win this season.
Yeah.
But it is about being consistent. It is about having more time. And yes, you got to touch as many people as you can. But we also, what I would say people can take from Donna is she was the only one that truly had a message that was penetrating with people who wanted change.
Yep.
It was still less voters. She just ducked. She had her foot in their ass in the polls.
She did.
And once it's telling you that more voters know that matters. When Sydney, when Mayor Baraka ran against Sydney, Oscar James in the South Ward, for months it was saying that 20% of the voter base, most likely voters, knew Baraka, which made sense because he's been pulling 5,000 votes out the South Ward every time he's ran at large. You can't make that up in that short period of time. You can't make 20% of the voter base all of a sudden know who you are and trust you to vote for you.
And
his entry point was not citywide; it was through through the South Ward seat.
And that's what I mean. That consistency right there is what some of these candidates were not doing. They were literally just popping out.
Baraka came out running for mayor, and I mean this in a positive way. But he was consistent. He came out, and then you don't have to come out running for mayor. But what I'm saying is, he started his
grew
career
that base. He grew
when
it.
he got home from college, right? And I'm sure he did what he was doing and building and cultivating things when he was home from college. But from that point on, he just kept going. And he was getting opinions. People was telling him run for Southwood a long time ago. I remember sitting in the room when how I felt he felt is that he thought the seat was beneath him back then. And I can see that as a young leader thinking, well, no, at large is bigger, right? It makes you think bigger. Right. And if you aspire to be the mayor, you probably thinking bigger. Where no, the mayor can win the South Ward with the South Ward alone if motherfuckers really got out here and got busy. And if we believed in people, we were excited about the leadership, we can win any election by ourselves. And some people that's playing a role in suppressing the vote want us to become weaker. That's why I was saying I wasn't one of the leaders that could run. I never aspired to be a career politician. So I'm not going to sit up here and keep doing this and then happens with everybody else. I'm 60 years old now. I'm in office. That's what y'all want. That's not what I I'm tired of the rats and roaches and the guns and garbage, and y'all sitting up here patting yourself on the back and having parties and
high fives. I'm like, what's the celebration? Do y'all not see these? I'm just gonna be direct. These fiends on South Orange Avenue, at Penn Station, on Clinton Avenue. Like, what are y'all celebrating? Because they have not been uplifted for 12 years. And that's a representation of all of us.
I can say this because I've had people in my family who suffered and died from addiction. And I knew that there would be a shift when community people, whether it was gang members or... Because I always tell people, the people on the corner read the newspaper too, especially when it started Legends out. They used to read that shit like it was a magazine. So when they pick up and see how certain politicians was behaving, the conversations we were having was like, I can't vote with them people, basically. They worse than us. You know? How they going to tell us what to do? Those was real stories. You know what I'm saying?
About that.
Even back then. And so when I saw that, one, we were incentivizing people at campaigns with half a pill in the morning and a half a pill in the evening just to stand out there and promote whatever people that was providing those pills was. When I see that there's actual things allowed to work in critical positions in the city and not required to get help.
And I know.
If you don't care about the things in City Hall, you damn sure don't care about the things on South Orange Avenue.
Right. And if I know and I can detect because of experiencing it and seeing it and having no choice but to learn it, like, oh wow, they're high as hell. They're higher than these PIC&G bills.
Well, remember, we just start talking about and caring about Black people and mental health and are educating us on how to even address what that was before it was just high as hell. What I learned from moving around in these different cities, particularly in Houston, only because I'm from Newark. The homeless people are far more aggressive, but so is the government. The mayor do not play in public safety. At 6 o'clock in the morning, everybody getting out before these people.
That's what I'm saying.
Up.
That's what I'm saying.
And the police is standing there behind the cleaners every day, wishing that they get out of line. One of the things I don't like is, for example, they'll go into the CVS and it's open 24 hours. That's a convenience for the community. Young people be working in it. Young ladies, that's great for the community. But these homeless people go in there, spitting on them, just stealing stuff and bumping up. That type of stuff is sort of what you were talking about, what you see on South Orange Avenue. So I know the potential of it getting worse if you don't do anything to counter it.
Exactly. And they have been getting aggressive. And it's like, come on now. Like, get yourself together, or I swear to God, I'll Narcan you. And you won't be high anymore.
I think when people are not allowed to be high, we gotta get those. A better example for the people in the community. Even a fiend or someone who's just totally out of their mind or whatever needs leadership.
Right. Like, now, you can't do
this outside. They may reject it, but you gotta lead anyway. You can't tolerate it. I go through drug training programs. They tell you can't placate it.
You can't.
But they try to support a family. They give you skills. These things are real. When they spaz out and start acting crazy, we can't ignore that.
No, we can't, and just be like, oh well, that's like in my day job when people don't come high to me anymore, but they tried it, and I'm like, wait a minute, we're not doing this. You're not gonna be nodding out while I'm trying to do your application. You gotta leave. You have to leave. And they're like, oh, you can't do that. No, you're not even prepared to handle business, and this is not acceptable.
My 7th grade social studies teacher at Maple Avenue School, and Kim Gaddimon was on the school board. So I also had an outlet, but I always was like a leader, you know. So even in 7th grade, I'm like, this shit fucked up. What's going on here?
Right.
We get to her class, she would doze off every day. Yes.
Wow.
So we ain't talking about weed high. We talking about
right.
I mean, every day.
That's crazy.
I mean, she would be sleeping nodding out and then just fall on the desk. I obviously went home, told my aunt about it, wrote a letter, did all this other stuff, and mine was not playing with the boy as a board member about that.
Like you can't
Guess
be like
what
that.
They did with her? Moved her to Chancellor Avenue.
They should have made her go
with older kids.
They should have made her go into addiction recovery. Once we see you like that, that's it. You have to go.
It's no bullshit. She used to actually behave like a parent. You know, like the two that wear the short dress and be standing out there like that. She used to be in school like that. I've never had a teacher like that in my life. No matter if and I'm sure they ain't the only teacher that ever did drugs. But this was and I couldn't believe, but adults were allowing, and colleagues that are adults were allowing this woman to come to work like that every day.
Exactly. I'm the type of person that would have went up to her like, look, you can't be coming to work high in front of the kids. I'm sure like
maybe because like there was one math teacher, I know she ain't played, Miss Russell was her name. I'm sure she used to say something to her, but she was supposed to be fired from the district, and I'm sure that there was some sort of policy required them to get her help, and because they didn't get her help, they didn't want to just fire her.
Wow. And I don't think people should have a choice. I don't think they should have a choice. And that comes from people outside of the community. Oh, just leave them alone. You don't know what they've been through. I get that, but they can't be out here like this. They got to get help.
Yeah,
they got to get help. They have Medicaid, so they can have access to a therapist, a psychologist for whatever else is going on, but they cannot be outside like this. And I think that's how our city got like that too. Outsiders encouraging it.
Yeah.
And taking us out of the equation like we're bullying them or harassing them.
And part of what I'm thinking is that this has been such a pandemic for probably older than all of us was born.
Right.
And it is getting worse because there was a time when I would walk down Burger Street and I didn't see 14-year-old things and 15-year-old things. Like our kids look like zombies, some of them.
Yeah.
It will only be older people. Usually that was like, oh,
that was the only thing. Yeah.
Like, it was never like, I didn't know if people was getting high and they were like age, I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? Type thing. When you have an urban city, what typically happens is one city pushes them to another. You know, people will come from Plainfield, people will come from New York and go back. And then Irvington don't want them up there, and then East Orange don't want them up there. So it has to be something regionally done because the illness doesn't necessarily get better for everyone.
Right.
And it's also not manageable for everyone. There's certain homeless people. I remember we would go out with the Covenant House, and that was for young people. They would rather be in an abandoned building or sleeping on the street than in one of our shelters. And why? Because if you went to the shelters, they horrible. So not even a thing wants to stay there. But why do we think that's okay?
And when
you go to these places, it's not just things there. These are mothers with families. These are whole families. These are people who are just trying to get through a hard period. These are not the worst. It's a mixture of all of the people in these cities. That's at YMCA. That's at this one and that one. So if we know that these places are rat infested, if we know, why we keep giving them contracts? $7,000.
Bed bugs. Abuse.
Some of the people that down because more homeless people want to go get services if they were treated like somebody. I remember when we was having the stimulus stuff, and they had to take them out to put them on a van at the one stop and take the clients or whatever out to someplace in Edison to do a test. One, when somebody going to talk to the federal government, the state government, the federal government, the workforce investment people, I had to wait all my life. When we going to tell them that we shouldn't be giving basic skills tests to people with master's degrees? Why the fuck are we doing that? That's city time and resources. Why are they taking that damn test? Give them something else to take. Like whatever, something that's going to help them not just get a job, sustain a job. But why are we subjecting people to that? A waste of resources and time, and people that's in charge, because it's been getting done that way, it just stays that way. People don't seek to change it, and you see the same thing in terms of there was another instance where someone who became my second in command, they got him on a van, but he's so uncomfortable because they're allowed to come on there smelling like pee, be dirty, they sitting on the van. Everybody's not comfortable with that. So why would we put anyone in those situations? So maybe you can. First of all, hygiene is important at any job. So we putting them on that van just to bottle and cap them.
Exactly.
Because if you really cared about them,
impact,
you would not allow anyone to come into your work establishment smelling like urine, let alone requiring people to get packed on a van of sardines to go take a test. And that's college degrees right there. He used to run the one stop, and that was his experience prior to that.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And we're in 2026.
We have chances that we have always opportunities to make things better or worse. The last example I'll give you, I think touches on this, is when it was 2006 and those kids were not getting paid at the one stop, because that was the transition between Booker and Sharp, and Sharp just kind of left like, look, I'm out. So and all the kids was already hired by that time, right? So we walking into there, Roses on his desk, and we like on a Saturday the 1st, and we like shit, and the program starts the next week, right?
Wow!
What the hell with this?
Why that was a catastrophe, because people were staff people had hired students that never was supposed to be hired.
Ooh.
So people was getting paid that wasn't supposed to get paid, and people that was supposed to be paid was getting paid. It was crazy.
A mess.
So I'm working in the mayor's office at the time before I went to the one stop, and I'm like, I think at this particular day they stormed down out of school because Donna was on the internet like, walk out, let's go get your checks, baby, right? So they called walk out. So they in City Hall, but this is where the line was drawn for me. But this is how I chose to deal with it. They just yelling outside the mayor's office, which is really my office. He ain't even here. Okay. So I went out there and Donna was in the middle of them. So I talked to her first. I said, Donna, let's just organize this. They have something they want to say. Let's put it in the structure. She's like, all right, let's do it. She was down for it. So now we Batman and Robin, me and her. So I said, let's just come out the hallway and let me talk to you first. So what we talked about is, she probably will remember this. What we talked about is I said, let's get 9 of them to represent them, the whole group, like the council.
Okay.
So we took them into the council. Teasing it to make it a moment. We coming up with that off our thing to stop this chaos.
That's situational learning.
This is not how you going to get your checks.
Right.
It's going to get you attention. It's not going to get you your checks because everybody now dealing with this instead of your checks. So, and we still trying to figure out who the hell shouldn't be getting paid that was getting paid, because we're going to run out of money. It's over budgeted. But we had to troubleshoot that. The program was already in place.
Right.
So it wasn't until the summer of 2007 that you saw evidence of my work come into play. And I think that was like maybe a year or two later, because I didn't leave the mayor's office until like 2009. But we took them in there. They selected 1 to be the mayor, 9 to be the council person. They decided who would be that. And it was in that quick time, showed you how smart our kids are, right? And if you plant the right seeds and don't put a rock over it, it will flourish and grow. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So by this time, I get the mayor there, and we take them, the 9 people plus the mayor, represented the 10. And Donna had to go. I didn't even need to go because Donna was there to go into the mayor's office and have a meeting. All I know, we was giving them pizza the next day, lunch. Of course, it made it rain. Next getting printed. People ain't going home from what do you call it? Human resources to 1 o'clock at night.
Wow. Wow.
So, and I'm director of the mayor's office. Now, technically, anything involving the mayor and the department's looking bad, I'm supposed to be a front line too. But to literally jump into how are we gonna fix the one stuff? How are we gonna fix the problem?
Right, hands on.
Versus it's not my department.
Right, hands on.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And you talk, and then on top of this, what made it worse? The people that worked in the mayor's office, because he wanted to prioritize everybody else, the people that worked in the mayor's office didn't get paid for 3 months. It's illegal not to pay anybody.
Whoa.
But we tolerated that because we didn't want to embarrass the mayor.
Whoa.
He wanted his people to get service last and still come to work because he wanted to make sure he took care of what? The other people first.
Okay.
Not his campaign people. 3 months, nobody in the mayor's office.
Wow.
I had to go to PNC in September with 3 checks. The bank like, what the hell is this?
Wow.
Not 3 checks, 3 months of checks. So that's 2 checks, 2 for 6 checks. Yes.
Okay.
We didn't get paid from July 1st until sometime in September.
Wow, y'all look good for that.
Okay.
Oh man.
Because you're gonna find me my money.
Got $7 million goddamn dollars sitting in it. I'm like,
I'm still trying to get reparations.
Don't tell me I don't love Newark.
Right.
Yeah, you hardcore for Newark. Yeah, you ride
3 months, no check. I don't know about that.
People are not supposed to leave City Hall if somebody doesn't get paid. It's totally against the law for you not to be compensated on the day you're supposed to be compensated.
I might give you a month. 3? Oh, play it.
It was always like, when is it going to happen? We did not know. First of all, they still doing shit on typewriters. It was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, you had me what I call fucked up. I'm sorry.
I think Pablo said at one time, like, if we have to wait another month, then we'll see what we could do to loan people money in the interim. That we had to go through all of that instead of government just working for us. But I'm telling you, Sharp James, I love Sharp James, but he allowed all of that to happen. Okay, because he didn't show up to the inauguration. He didn't do no transition. He was pissed.
He said, "The hell with y'all. You ain't want to vote me in."
Yo, when we walked into Cory Booker's office, it was gloomy. I mean, we walked into the mayor's office. It was gloomy, and
I bet it was
on the desk. So you know he bought those roses alive. He wanted them to be.
They were dead.
Else, right? And he always had nice penmanship. He wrote the fuck out of this letter. And anybody that know him, he can write really good. And how much he loved Newark. He wasn't trashing Booker. He was just like, this is what I feel about city. I love the city and da 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 da. And good the fuck by like that.
Wow.
That's how the letter read. So imagine how every other department was. All of the reason I'm sharing that is not just to share some good stories about Newark, but it's also about to say, no, we really are stronger together. And if people get out of their own way and be willing to offer what they can bring to a table,
exactly.
It doesn't have to be the same table. It's a much stuff to do here, but it's going to take a little bit of everybody. You can't do it with one cast of characters, you know.
Right. It's so much like we'll benefit from the collaboration. And that spreads and distribute the work.
Yes. Well, that sounds good. I'm just wondering why it doesn't happen. You know?
That's because everybody wants the credit. Everybody wants the credit.
Everybody want to be the star.
Everybody want to be the chief. And
I've always said Anibal is the only council person that I knew actually had 2 jobs that he can be considered full time. If he can get done the things he can get done and run that goddamn county department, what the hell is our problem? And he's been doing this shit since his 20s.
Shout out to Ramos.
Well, depending on who you ask about that county office.
No, but I'm just saying one thing the county does, even when I worked there, it operates. They don't allow it to departments to just go to hell. And you're gonna see if somebody sexually harassed Joe D ain't playing that shit. Not becoming this ongoing narrative that's bigger than everything else. Ain't nothing bigger than his buildings. What we remember Joe D for is building. Welfare department, what I hear now is, black leadership is pretty much non-existent, right? That's what people are saying. Well, when we have blacks in all the positions, in most of the positions of power, what were they doing?
I mean, you got the Southwood councilman in 2 directors positions and a council seat. Like, what is he doing?
What director is Pat?
I don't know. Somebody get in the comments.
He used well, you can't be a councilperson and work for the city, but he used to be the director of neighborhood services.
So he's no longer the director.
Yeah, I'm about to say he better not be the director.
I'm not sure he, like I said, only person I've ever known to have like what I would consider a full-time job, and I consider the council job to be full-time too, technically, especially if depending on what kind of council person you are.
Right.
But it's basically you're a legislator for a major city in Newark, and you also are the head of the human services. What's bigger than that is he's controlling all the resources, and he's your colleague.
Mm-hmm.
So why when I was working for welfare and even years after that, Newark Emergency Services is always the department that don't got no money, ran out of money. They supposed to be there when people get rejected from welfare. I had so many clients that couldn't get on welfare, but every time they go down there, they ain't got no money. But LaCasa money.
LaCasa always got money.
You see, so what I want to see, I don't want LaCasa to not have the money, but I want to see our organizations that servicing our communities govern too. And
education.
That doesn't mean that a LaCasa can't expand into the South Ward, but why is, again, our organizations dwindling and the other organizations are now coming into our communities and being able to thrive even more?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we got the highest foreclosures still in the South and the West Wards. So what I'm saying is,
yes, talk about that foreclosure
under certain leadership. I don't understand why we get the shorter end of the stick. How we forget to give South Wards hot spots. How we forget to give South Ward recreation programs after 5 o'clock. We were the same ones screaming as a community that we want the schools open to 8.
Exactly. The charter schools took them.
Well, the charter school was promising to leave the playgrounds that they had us help build open, and they started locking them because and the city leadership allowed it to be done because they didn't want to deal with the fact of the charter schools were saying, we don't want the community coming here and trashing our playgrounds and treating them like they treat y'all playgrounds and parks to get treated. But the problem with that was that's not what y'all said when y'all signed that contract.
Right.
You didn't say you didn't want the community in here.
Right.
You said, come on, y'all. You played Hot 97 and you had us out there working and building sandboxes just to put them locks on that gate every night after that playground and the press conference was done. And again, our leadership allowed that to happen. So now you have inadequate public schools with no recreation. Gyms still look like they looked when my father was in school, in grammar school. And then you have the charters going into newer buildings or enhancing our older buildings, making it brighter, putting programs in there that's just for their kids. And there's no real sense of community for that area.
None at all.
None at all. We arguing with the parents of blocking our driveway.
Yep.
We not building camaraderie. We pissed off.
Yeah. Yep.
So when we see problems, especially small ones, my biggest takeaway from today's conversation would be, let's figure out what we can do about it and let's do something about it. Also, us tapping into the fact, particularly those that's 45 and younger, that for us to bring about transformational change in this city or in this country, we cannot blend in with the everybody else. Right. There has to be a group of us that's going to travel the road less traveled by in order for us to have that transformation. So what I say is, no, this idea that we think we got to work with everybody, no, we don't. We got to work with the people who wants to work with us. And when they can't work with us, then they should not be allowed to work for us.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Okay.
Now, if they don't work for the city, don't work for the county level government, don't work for the state government, I don't expect for you to give a damn. But to whom much is given, much more is expected. These folks are living, making a decent wage, providing for their families, having cookouts and having a good time, and none of it is transforming anything. Right.
It's only benefiting them and their personal agenda.
Yeah. And downtown is nicer, but people still benefiting off of what Sharp James did. And it's not what happened over the past 4 years. Downtown's been on this path since I was a damn kid.
Since I was a kid.
Right. Yeah.
Benefited off of many projects that Sharp James initiated, but that's how it works in politics. The next person usually gets some of the credit. But
and to your point, and that's why
that's not good enough for the past 16 years. I'm sorry that we just got big buildings downtown.
It should be that energy. We should have that energy happening in the wards.
Yeah. Well, it's
Where's
also
the
going to be
motion
hard
in
to
the
do that if
wards?
we do allow, we just live in a day where, again, growing up, we all knew drug dealers. They was just incognito. It wasn't so blatant. Like, you literally have whole fucking hood rings just occupying corners overtly. Pissing off the elders that live across the street because they don't like it. But they've been living in their house for so long. What are they going to do? But why is this being just allowed to happen? And this is 11th Street residents are saying this.
Okay.
Now, that's a block over for 10th. It happens on 10th Street, too.
Right.
Terrance was acting up.
We lost Terry.
I'm about to say, look, he must have known his phone was about to die because he was going in the Matrix. Look, I had to pull my tab bar down. Like, wait, is that me?
I heard it. Okay. So that's what happened. Wow.
Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute. Am I going in the Matrix? Or...
Let's see if he comes back. But yeah, what's your take on all of this?
Oh man, it's just so much to unpack because y'all touched so many topics in the hour that I've been on this call. So I'm a oh Jesus. So I'm gonna start with Terrance was at. I didn't know anybody on drugs besides somebody in my family.
Okay.
And I grew up smack in Central Ward where cops was even afraid to go into the buildings on Prince Street and High Street.
Wow.
we used to throw bottles at the cops.
Wow.
So I really didn't know any drug dealers. I didn't even know really people on drugs except for the few people in my family because it just was unheard of. Even back in the day, like now you see women fighting, you see women and children getting attacked. And back in the day, that wasn't a thing. It was like
right.
Women and children was off limits, even when I was growing up in the 90s. Like it just wasn't a thing, and now it is. And then I wanted to ask a question to you and Terrance before he went into the Matrix about the whole that's what I call it, about the whole drug thing and the fact that we have recategorized certain drugs into certain categories. And the fact that do we label that as that being maybe the problem of the progression of the way our community is using drugs now? Because now it's not even a weed thing now. Now they doing wet, they doing concoctions, they PCP, they lacing stuff because what they used to what we thought was a bad drug, which was weed, is no longer effective to them anymore. It's it's just it don't even get them high anymore.
Right.
So
that's the gateway drug.
Yeah, the gateway it has no effect.
After that, I got to do something new.
Right. So I was gonna say, is that a problem?
Well, I smoke my medical marijuana weed, and I don't never feel compelled. I don't never feel compelled to do nothing else.
I didn't even know he was back. I was about to say, wait a minute, where the heck is that coming from?
He came back on us.
I was about to say, hold on.
I don't know what makes them want to do something else. That's when it's going to. I think
they oversmoked it.
It's depression. Weed and a good cigar is good enough if that's what's good enough for you. There's bigger issues when you, it's just like drinking. It's all right to drink if you're a drinker, but to drink to escape something is a different.
See, right.
You're working a different problem.
That therapy.
These kids look
I think the harder drugs come in, not so much that weed is the gateway. It's not escaping them from what they want to escape from or not think about or avoid. And it happens with younger men mostly because they're not taught to express themselves, what they're feeling, what they're thinking. And if anything, they only will do it with a close male friend who may not have any answers or advice to give. Or they might do it with their mother, depending on how close that relationship is. Other than that, most of them are not trying to go there. They're trying to figure it out in their head. And so with me, I know I recently had a young friend. He started out as a mentee. But as you know, people get older, then you become kind of like friends or whatever. So he was 10 years younger, but when we hung out, it's just a drink here and a weed here. When he's hanging out with these other people, it's cocaine and what's the other thing that now what was it called? The
fentanyl.
Yes, and what's happening with that is also happening around the country. Part of the reason what we should be telling people, stop messing with street weed, period, because you don't know what these people are putting in it. People are selling out people weed laced with fentanyl, so they are overdosing by accident or becoming mentally disfigured. And so now that's coming in on top of the everything else. That's why somebody can be okay a couple of months ago, and next thing you know, they twitching or something just. So I think that it is for most people. It goes back to mental health. I think our people live in such hard lives and not really having the outlets or the skills, and people only do what they know sometimes too. So
why are we? That's the thing too. Why are we? Are youth living these hard lives? I don't understand it. We have charter schools. We have public schools. We have a lot of education. A lot of educational sites. We have Black leadership.
So that's like the $1 million question.
We allow the kids to be high as fuck off pills in school as young as 7th grade. That was not allowed when I was in Maple.
Man, and we don't have a sense of community anymore. Like growing up in Newark in the 90s, like my neighbors were able to discipline me. And I don't mean discipline as in they was putting their hands on me.
Right.
They were able to discipline me as if they saw me doing something wrong, knowing what I'm not supposed to do.
What are you doing? I'm gonna tell.
They gonna grab me up.
Or if we saw them first, we'll stop what we doing.
Yeah,
we'll pull back like, oh shit, there go Miss.
Yeah, if I knew somebody that my grandmother and my aunts and them knew and my mother knew, I'd be like, right. I'm about to get in trouble.
How did we get there? Well, we have no community and we act like we don't know each other.
So I can blame it on what's happening in the world. I can blame it on displacement. I can happen on gentrification.
It's all of that. Yes.
It's just so much it's just so many things wrapped up into one where you can touch.
And that's why people are overwhelmed. You have the generation from 40 down who really don't want to do regular jobs. They have even lost a desire from working for government.
Shakima, that's our generation, Shakima.
They want to go. They want to have their own businesses. They want to do pod streaming stuff. We're not getting with the times. You know what I'm saying?
They have unrealistic goals.
So I don't necessarily think that our generation don't want. I don't think our generation. No offense, Terrance. No offense. I don't even think it's unrealistic. I just think a lot of stuff.
You think you're gonna be a star and rich, but you're not even building up to that point.
I think that's more so Gen Z. I think that's more so like the Gen Zers. I'm talking about for millennials. I think we're just not gonna tolerate a lot of no, I don't want to curse. A lot of stuff.
Well, how old are you, Czezre?
I'm 36.
So I'm 40. So I'm 43. That is our mind frame. We're not going to take no shit. There are those that do, but for the most part, no. And want to be meaningful at work. We're not here to just do bullshit.
I'm just to do BS.
I can paint a wall, but I'm not painting walls. I'm not going to pick up your kids. We don't live in that era anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not sitting at work with a shotgun at the back of my neck, and if I don't come to your campaign headquarters, no, that's not happening.
It's like whatever.
Right.
It is what it is. So I think that's what it is. I don't think it's
that's exactly what it is. You hit it on the head. It's never one thing when it's not that bad.
Yeah, we're not tolerating shit. Like, we're not tolerating the disrespect. Like, yeah, you giving me a check, but that check ain't an open door for you. Then you're gonna tell me what you just ain't gonna happen. Like, you ain't gonna talk to me.
And you're not gonna talk to me any kind of way. There was one occurrence where someone came up to me who's like a political operative, and we were talking, and I somehow had mentioned to him that, oh yeah, I spoke to so and so. Blah blah blah. He went up to him like in his face, why you ain't tell me you talked to Terrance? This is a grown ass man with multiple kids, a whole wife, and this motherfucker allowed him to come up to him and talk to him like that in front of me. I said, I don't know how y'all do it. So If this is happening, imagine what's happening. Okay, down, down, and left and right. So that's not how we should communicate with each other, and that's not how you communicate with a grown man.
Right.
Not one that you don't have a problem with. And why are we berating and belittling each other in front of each other? How does that help? We want to support that person as a candidate. If you are pumping them in front of you.
But that's another way. That's another sense of. I don't want to say enslavement, but that's another way to control.
It is.
It is in a sense, in the definition, it is. But that's another way to control one's body, through the example that you listed.
These people stop invading people's body space, because then that's starting to become a common thing too. Walking up on people because you don't like what they say politically about something that has nothing to do with you or has something to do with you is a problem.
Trust me, I know. I'm about to have to slap a couple of people during these past couple of campaign cycles.
Especially after what just happened in one of the suburban districts. What happened in one of the suburban districts of Texas with the black young man that stabbed and killed the white young man. Those
Carmelo
things
Anthony.
You don't keep your hands off of people.
Yeah, Carmelo Anthony. Yeah, that was. Oh,
yes.
Don't get me started on that.
Those things kind of happen because everybody ain't going to push you back. Everybody is not going to wait to get jumped on by several people before they pull out a weapon or defend themselves. But at the same time, we can't be overreacting to each other.
Yeah, I think
that's a real messy thing, but it also gets into, it does matter with race.
Yeah,
you know,
it does.
But we should be able to feel safe in those communities too. And for many black people, we're not safe in.
I don't feel. I'm honest. I don't feel safe. That's why I haven't moved out of Newark.
I hear you.
I do not feel safe.
Yeah,
but you know what it is for Newark, for people like us, we're comfortable with it. And that's when I had to say, you know what, just because I'm immune to walking down Clinton Avenue and Hawthorne Avenue every day, living on Gerard Place, this is not good enough.
It's not, but
it's not.
Outside is not good enough either. I know I'll live, I'll survive.
I still got to be in the hood wherever I live, but I mean, I need that city.
And that's the messed up. That's the messed up part too. Like, people like me have nowhere to go.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Can't go outside. It's not safe for me. Stay in Newark. That's not good either. So it's like the only thing I can do is exercise.
All I can say is parts of Houston and Raleigh is about 20 years ahead of every major black city here. If black young people are looking for somewhere to go, Central, not just anywhere in Texas, but Houston is very much us. Everybody got something going on. And then every day, if I go out my house, I'm going to meet people who got something going on from every other major black city around the country. And I'm going to meet some great white people too. That's engaging. That's this, that's that.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't, in Houston, it's not like that. We don't deal with, and Texas is so big, you can't really even feel it. That young man's story bothered me if it was in New Jersey or if it was in Washington State. You see what I'm saying? But my community, no, I don't deal with that. I told you the biggest issue is aggressive homeless people. And they don't bother me so much, but I see them. Right. Now, Raleigh, I would say too, it's a beautiful city. It's where Newark should have been. And these cities still got some growing to do. But when I look, where else do I want to live? And so I don't have to only live here and only work here. Houston and Raleigh was what I think we are looking for. We want to still go and not be expected to have to do anything, right? So it's much different than when I'm walking around Newark. It's not about running for office. It's not about this candidate. It ain't about the guns and garbage. No, I can come here and get involved in politics if I want to. Get involved in a nonprofit if I want to. Build relationships with schools if I want to. You know what I mean?
Right.
We have to know, and especially for black men, we sometimes or most times have to go so we can grow. Our communities are sucking us dry.
I hear you on that.
You talk to us about, we are tolerated because we're one of the most forgiving races, and we do it because it's expensive to relocate and it's not comfortable.
It's not.
It's not comfortable. You know what I'm saying?
It's not.
And so we stay in this mix because that's where we're comfortable at, even though
it's all right to be bitter because you can't be driven if you're not bitter. But we're bitter about the way we're treated every day. We're bitter about our quality of life. We're bitter about we feel like our tax dollars are really being wasted. And I think people are bitter that we can't really figure out why is there a lack of community except for the fact that we don't come and engage any. When do we engage with a cross of people outside of a campaign? And then we're put into a situation where people are being trained to be disrespectful to you, and you just running for office.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So now it becomes a different about something else that is not, because people think they can bully you and intimidate you because you put your name on a ballot.
And that's wow.
Or because of a candidate that you choose to support. When black leaders are treating other black leaders, if you gonna do that, you better do it behind closed doors. To let me see that you behave that way, I don't respect that type of leadership. Right. And I'm not gonna pretend like it is so great when it's not. That don't mean I have to be disrespectful. That don't mean I don't care to approach you. I'm not doing no rallies about you. I'm changing lives in Newark, in Camden, and all around the country. That's what fulfills me. Not having banter back and forth with people who are not even.
How do we address that? But how do we address that so that we can move forward? Because now that's where the division is.
I think y'all gotta wait for. I think y'all getting there, but it's gonna probably take 4 more years. You can't change who people are. Character matters.
That's true. But I also think that people have. I think people have to understand. Well, I don't want to keep talking about the generational stuff. We're all millennials. But Terrance talk like he
no, because I engage with young people, so I know it's not just us. I have to hire and interview some of these people. The 18 and older are missing out on so much work skills, and at first it was just because of COVID. It's worse. Some of our younger people under us have no work ethic. They won't be able to work for nobody.
At all.
They have no work ethic. And no matter how amazing it is of what they want to do, and to do something amazing, you have to have a sick work ethic.
Yeah, and I think the schools have failed also. People.
Yes, sir.
Because it's sad that our kids don't know how to write cursive. They can't read cursive. They don't know how to write out a check. They don't know how to write out a check. They can't even read basic English. They can't do basic math. They can't do multiplication, division. If you throw certain black political figures in their faces, they can't name them. Our schools are truly sad, and I don't want to go outside of the state. I do want to touch just Jersey, and I think what people don't understand is that as progressive Jersey want to make itself to be, quote unquote, right, Jersey is not as progressive as people think it is.
No, not at all.
And statistics have shown that Jersey, statistically, on certain scales as far as pay and education and housing, is one of the most segregated states in this country. One of the most segregated states in this country. And people have to realize that that's, to me, looking at the history of Jersey, that's still that way to me, because Jersey was one of the last states to even abolish slavery.
That makes sense.
So we have a lot of, even if you look at the laws in Jersey, we still have a lot of enslavement type laws still in place in this state today in 2026. Literally we still have, and I saw somebody put it in the comments, and I was going to say that earlier, but they took it right out of my mouth. We still literally have sundown cities in this state. Like literally.
I tell people when they actually I tell them New Jersey is one of the most racist states in the country.
Yes.
Northers may not realize that, but when you travel throughout the state, you definitely experience.
Let me tell you something. I always knew, but during the Black Lives Matter like rallies and stuff like that, I was literally going from north to central to south and like back and forth. But when you hit that, when you go like to Princeton Junction on down, maybe before that, I literally was having white people roll up. This was before Trump, like rolling up in their flags, like, get out of here. Like, get out of here, N-word, blah, 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 blah.
And once of race baiters, yelling nigger in my face or yelling like that don't happen to me.
No, they don't come in my face now.
Happen to me. See what I'm saying?
See, and a lot of Newark residents though haven't experienced real racism because they haven't been out of Newark.
And
yeah. And it's real. It's real. When they just say, "Oh, everybody's racist," I'm like, "But you never left Newark, so what are you talking about?
What do you know about it?
You in a bubble. You better be thankful."
And I think
there's racist people in Newark. They just live in their own community, and they don't need to come to our community.
They got some stuff going on at NJIT, I think.
Maybe Rutgers. But I think I also put my own foot, our generation and the generation after us, we are spoiled because we don't really know the effects of, and I'm thankful to have a grandfather, God willing, he'll be 94 in September, and I have a grandmother who will be, she's in her mid 80s.
Wow. God bless.
We don't have, and my mom, she'll be in a couple of days, she'll be 56. So like we don't understand what.
Oh, your mom don't look her age at all.
Okay.
Your mom like she could be a millennial.
Black don't crack. People to this day think that's my sister. No, that's my mama.
Well, y'all look like
wow.
We don't understand. Look. During the election season, I just found out Shaquille was my cousin. So
yeah.
But see what happens when you talk and you communicate,
and it happened from a simple conversation from somebody else.
Right.
So what I was trying to say was that our generation thereafter, we don't understand the struggle of what our parents and grandparents went through. Like we don't understand that. Me having a grandfather who was born in the 30s and a grandmother who was born in the 40s, that they couldn't vote. Like they were being stopped from voting. They were literally taking buses from the north to the south to fight for civil rights. Yeah. That they weren't afforded, like they were still going through segregated schools. People and I hate when people be saying, "Oh, but that was so long ago." Negro, do y'all not know what was going on in the 70s? There was still segregation. There was still segregation going on in the 70s. There was still busing like going on in the 70s. There were still things going on in the 70s. I think I put my own foot in my mouth, and sometimes they say you got to watch what you put out in the universe because sometimes it'll happen. And I was saying to myself during the 2024 election, damn, I hope Donald Trump get elected. I hope Donald Trump get elected so these motherfuckers understand what it means to get your rights taken, literally snatched away from you. And now we're gonna have to like fight back for it. And now that it's happening,
I still feel that way. And you know what I knew? That black people who had something going on was gonna be okay, and that the most impacted people were gonna be his primary base. We're gonna be fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're gonna get through these 4 years just fine.
Yeah.
Black people that got something going on. But your point,
you gotta have something going on.
Yeah. I just mean in the sense of that we don't
absolutely right.
We don't understand. I knew his base was going to be affected the most because people. I don't understand these pundits on TV and these people that the people who benefit the most from government assistance and
all of this and that,
and benefited from the fact that we're the ones who fought for the things that they're, being able to enjoy was because of us. But always. I'm saying that in a sense of that we don't understand the need to fight for what we want. And fight for what is afforded to us as a right. That's what I mean. For us, we are a spoiled generation.
If you ain't programmed these kids to be Marcus Garvey, all you talk to them about is goddamn amnesty legislation. That ain't.
And the people who talk to you about the amnesty,
they wasn't talking to me about no black history. In Newark, I had to go get my black history myself. They want to just keep telling me about amnesty legislation.
But I don't. Maybe it's just me. I just feel like, and it could be different for adults. I just feel like for me, schooling for me back then to compare to now, it just seems different.
I think it's night and day different.
Like I just feel like, and it could.
When my daughter was 16, we went somewhere where it's like one of those first times where you were with your child, be like, "Hey, you sign your name,"
right.
And she looked at me, she said, "Dad," and I forgot. She says, "Dad, I don't know how to write in cursive." And now I remember that was one thing that North Star didn't teach. Her whole career was in North Star.
Wow.
And why they didn't think that she needs to learn cursive. Something as simple as signing your name is not going away anytime soon. But there's nothing wrong with her learning that.
No.
Right.
But
but
they
the
purposely did
foundation.
that.
And
Oh,
she
my
was
bad.
16 when that happened. She's 19 now. But yeah, that was like a
Wow.
But they purposely did that for a reason, and now we're seeing the results
yes.
of them stripping certain just basic things from our well, I call them kids now because yeah, so basic things from our kids like such as cursive and even learning our his like Black history back in the day, even though it was just a month, was such a huge thing growing up for me in the 90s. Like it was like
Hmm.
Oh, you mean when what's it called? When cultural services existed and actually had a director
yeah,
that
Yeah.
yeah,
Now,
and
what
yeah,
actually
happened to
put
that?
programs together.
What
right.
happened to cultural
For
services?
cultural
Neighborhood
services,
services got taken over by somebody. Y'all can go do the time frame, but I'm just telling you.
What
yeah, like
happened to the
it was such a
parades?
yeah, it was just such a big it was such a big thing. Like I still like my
Ain't nothing
profile
wrong with
picture
the
on
Puerto Rican
Facebook.
Day Parade.
Don't get me started. Don't get me started.
Puerto Rican Day Parade is living la vida loca every year.
I
Terrance
mean,
trying to
that's
get
cool.
Terrance trying to
That's
get me
cool.
started. Terrance trying to get me
I'm
started.
just trying to tell you, if you want to get to the root of the problem, but what I said, you can't resent the fruit of the problem without getting to the root of the problem, right?
Amen.
So
Amen.
who was in charge when it declined? That's who's responsible.
So that's the
Mm.
that was where they see you went through the matrix with with me and Shakima when I was touching on bases with Shakima. Like
And
where
no, it wasn't
did
under Cory Booker. We programmed our ass off. Right there.
where did the problem start? So I can so me I always tell people
Mm.
this honestly. I can't really talk about the Cory Booker regime because when I left Newark in 2002 ish, 2003. Yeah, when I was in sixth
Hmm.
grade, middle school to high school, I wasn't here, but I was here because I always came back. But and lucky for me, I had somebody in my family who was on city council.
Right.
But majority of my family still was in Newark.
Yeah.
But so I can't really talk about the Cory Booker era except for what was literally told to me. So I don't know. So like I don't know where that breakdown came from. I really don't. And then I tell people all the time, like I went to middle school and high school in Franklin. And that was the first time I ever experienced me personally seeing middle class Black people who cared.
Okay.
I saw a school board full of Black people, a
Wow.
superintendent that was Black. My principals were Black. The head of student advocacy was Black. The school attorney, Black. Like it was Black. Like don't get me wrong, there was mixed pockets of other races,
Yeah.
but as
Right.
far as people being in charge, they were Black, and they were doing stuff. Like
Right. They were effective.
there was no excuse of we lacked resources. Well, if we lack resources, we're gonna try to figure out where we
Man,
could like make like it just
they
But see,
would
but that's
take
what
that
you. But
one book we had.
that's where the city of Newark was for about Cory Booker. 2 points I'll make about him. One, if he was only because of the makeup of that city, was he is always this 30-50 thing with him about
yeah.
and then they treat him like a celebrity when he walking out in the damn streets. But he's always had that star power thing. But one of the things about him, I would say, is one, he hired competent people. I don't just say that. I
Yeah,
hear that
I'll give
from
them
other
that.
people.
I'll
Yeah.
give
They'll
them
say
that.
they'll be like one thing
People do
about Cory
say
Booker,
that.
he hired competent people. I
People do
still
say
get
that.
complimented on my staff I had at the one stop. How
Yeah.
Black men was dressing in suits and ties, and not every day, but we did a little bit of
For the most
everything.
part, yeah.
Yeah. And we spoke well. We wasn't rude to residents. I mean, those those things matter. So, like I said, it goes back to character. Now, what I will also say, where I think North was spoiled, that Cory Booker, you tell him some money need to be raised, he gonna raise that damn money. When
Cory Booker
people
can
was
raise some money. I give him
criticizing
that.
him about criticizing him about his security, the overtime he fundraised for, all of
Okay.
them city parks that was renovated, he fundraised for.
Okay.
The funding for the
That's huge.
for calling the police when something happened, Crime Stoppers, he raised the money for. Any other city that had a mayor like him that just based on money that raised that amount of money, he would be the greatest mayor ever to them. Just based on that alone, because what we need more of is actual resourceful Black politicians who are in place to be able to raise that type
we do
of
need
money
more
or
fundraising.
have that type of support, because we need people in office who can leverage other resources, not just run the
Exactly.
city off
Man.
taxpayers. That makes sense.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And in order to do that, people wanted to give Cory Booker money. People gotta want to
Mhm.
give you money.
Right.
People
And
wanted to work with our administration
I
in
also
different
think
capacities.
our elected officials now, I don't even think they understand their positions.
Nope.
I don't.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Because when I bring up something that you should know as an
Yeah.
elected official, you don't know,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, are you even trying to study the job?
Right.
I remember one person. I won't name her name for different reasons, but she's an elected official, and I was a part of this movement that we had going on. We're educating the public, like, hey, 72% of us are under the age of 45 years old, and boom, boom, boom. She came in like, that is a lie. Where did you get that information from? The census for the past 20 years.
Right. That's
The
and that
fuck? Why would I
and
just make that up? Why would all these black young people, Linda Lloyd, me, Tommy, all these motherfuckers get together and just make that up?
And all you
The
can do
fuck?
and all you can do is Google it, and it's literally right there.
that's why I
I
get the
wanted to
60.
tell her, we not your fucking kids. We know shit.
Why? Right,
And
right. And that's
and I
why I
thi-
get
and
the
I and,
60,000 plus
She
in
was so
poverty.
rude
That's
and
from the
nasty
census.
about it and did
Mhm.
wrong. You know what I'm
and I,
Dead
saying?
wrong.
and
Dead
I
wrong.
hate when people do that as well. They try to use, and don't get me wrong, I can say now at 36 that if I would have got elected in 2014, who knows? I probably would have matured. But I definitely know me at 24, me at 36 is totally two different people. Totally two different people. So I do
Always
think,
would say I never wanted to be the only one new to get elected because I feel like it would aggravate me so much.
yeah.
I
So
needed at least another 2-3
yeah, so
changes.
I do think maturity does come with age. Not saying that older people
It's supposed to. Yeah,
Life experience.
it's
That's
yeah.
supposed.
yeah.
So
You
not saying older people
marinating.
ain't immature, because like you said, if you look at these election cycles, you
I
see
like to
people
say
who could be
that
my father and mother who
maturity
immature
is
as hell.
something. Maturity is something that
Yep.
you should be expected and should want. Right? We
Mhm.
all. Grandparents can be childish sometimes. It's okay to be childish sometimes. It's not
My
okay to be
grandparents was petty.
immature. And these people are immature. That's different. We got people in serious roles that's immature.
Yep.
Childish is different. We can laugh
Mhm.
at something. We can, if you can have those moments, but when it's when it's more madness than method, I like to say when your madness don't outweigh your method,
Yes.
everybody got to check everybody. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, and I
That's
just
part of what Michelle's speech was at this grand opening thing. I'm telling you, people that have not
you
listened to
watched it
that,
too? It was beautiful.
the speeches
It
alone
was.
was like on. That's
It
the message
was. It
because she
was.
and him could have said a lot of shit. Okay.
Yes, they could have.
And the way they stuck with what his integrity of what he bring his message, and to see that black woman speak about her husband that way in front of that diverse audience and with the world watching, that's what the fuck I'm talking about. It ain't
Exactly.
nobody's a
They
perfect
nailed it.
politician. Come on,
They
but
nailed it.
character matters.
Look,
Yes,
I always tell them they need a cousin like me, because
I was
they
like,
need
wow.
they need a cousin like Cardi B. Just
Cause baby B,
I
my
admire them,
my
but they
bad,
let a
Renee.
lot
I be
slide. But I'm sure they
teasing.
deal with it in their own way. But people will reap what they sow. Donald
Yeah.
Trump was talking about how old Biden was and how he falling down. Now he can't fall down. You don't look like you having too many healthy days. People will reap what they sow. That's one thing about us. We just got to stay encouraged and stay the course. And like I said, find out things that we can work on. And part of that really does, Shakim, start with collaboration. Me,
Yeah.
hey, Clint, what you got going on? Oh, maybe I can work on that with you. That's how we
Exactly.
begin to. You don't have to put together no task force to be anti this or or even pro that. What are we going? What is it that we want to address? And I'm willing to bet that even with us four on this phone, we all do something that benefits the
Right.
community one way or another.
Right.
We got to look for the ways to collaborate, and it can't always be through campaigns, nor should they be, and they always can't be because of a politician. More so about what we want for the community, not just the politicians to do, but those that live in the community. Because remember, they don't set the rules. Where I come from, the community set the rules for how that community works. It could be the one old lady on the corner, or the one old guy, or the aunt on the block. Somebody, the community set that standard. So we got to get back to that, where
Yep.
You're setting the standard on your block and not being afraid of the public and feel like we're being backed up by public safety, right? Because
Right.
our people stopped speaking and engaging with people because people started acting crazy.
Exactly. And you know
I
what?
offer you good advice, or I give you some constructive
Yeah.
criticism, or I see you being disrespectful to an elder, and I'm like, "What's up with that?" And
Right.
now you want to hit me over the head with a bottle. You want to,
Right.
So
Right.
people be
And
like, "I'm
how did
not
we
fooling
get
with people
there?
like that." Yeah.
Right. Or somebody
Michelle
want to pull
said
out a
something
gun
else.
and
She
start
said, "Put the
shooting.
phones down and actually talk to each other." I think that's important too. The moment something
Absolutely.
negative or crazy is happening, the spectators want to film it. It ain't just for evidence for somebody. She said, "When you even here, we're celebrating." I like the theme they came up with. We're celebrating. It was almost like
Yes.
normal, just get together, right?
Right.
And we dance and we having fun. It ain't just about speeches. It ain't. And what she also was saying is, part of the work is enjoying yourself, is having fun, is celebrating
Absolutely.
things that are positive.
Absolutely.
I
When
really
I
like
was
the
out
way they put
there,
that together.
like, for Jimmy and Donna, I had a good time.
It's supposed to be
I
like that.
enjoyed this
Donna
election.
looked like she had a good time. When I was seeing her in those videos of her van, I was like, look at Donna,
Yeah.
I mean, with the big thing. But look at Donna with
The
that. But she
camper.
looked
Right.
happy, having fun doing it. That
Right.
it's not
This
fun. I
election
don't
to me
even
was so
like it.
fun.
I had fun this
Right.
campaign. I really did.
This campaign was so fun to me, helping out Donna and then transitioning to helping out Asia. This campaign was
Yeah.
so fun.
I
I
enjoy getting to
enjoyed it.
talk to people and like just get to hear what people was thinking. And I'm a fan of the sport, but I didn't feel like I was like the
Right.
election was bothering me,
People were like, "Oh, I'm tired of this. I can't wait until it's over." I'm like, I'm enjoying this.
It just got started. Y'all need more time.
Right. Right.
What could it be that the enjoyment happened because we're not the candidates and we're now the people who are actually are the field managers? Could that be?
I think it's part of that.
Because for me, I haven't been a candidate since 2008, 2018, and I
It
did
could
that.
have been.
And I did that because I wanted to see how I would be as a person if I wasn't in the forefront. And I wanted to see if people were able to put their money where their mouths were.
Also,
When you have a lot of backdoor conversations with people and they say certain things in the public as well about how they feel about this and what they want to do about this and
right.
da, 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 da.
Absolutely.
And I felt could that be the case of that because we're not candidates? Because I feel like me being a candidate, it was just like God damn.
But one, that tells me two things: that you take being a candidate seriously because it is a lot of
Right.
work.
Right.
It is a lot of work, and I've done both. I think that question was very interesting to me because for a second I was wondering, is that why? But I actually do enjoy when I'm a candidate. What I don't enjoy about that process is I'm hands-on with everything.
Yeah, me too.
And I don't get to just be the candidate,
Be the candidate.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so, like, there's no AI coming up with my messaging.
Right.
This
Right.
stuff. I'm
Oh,
engaged at every
man.
level of this, and I'm also learning. What's going on.
See,
And
and that's
so,
what I'm saying. The AI to me was just so misused, and
It was.
it
people
was
got to learn about it first. Like, we should want to
right.
research something and learn about it and see how we can incorporate it to help make things better or enhance things, but never to just
Right.
get. Some people, I got people who have applied 20s, 30s for jobs and don't think I can't tell the difference. You are not writing any of this?
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's dangerous. You see what I'm saying to me?
Very dangerous. And those
I
were
need you to
those
write some of it and
candidates.
then put it through the
Those-
mixer. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever.
You're right.
Those were those overnight
were the
candidates.
I think
The
that was
overnight
a big difference.
candidates.
Yeah, I think that was a big difference and I seen that from being a candidate and us being candidates in 2014 to the candidates that I see now. Like, I can literally look at people's platforms and be like, you did not write this.
But it
Right.
also, but yeah,
You
it's not
did
a platform.
no type of research. You literally went
None.
into AI and say,
None.
hey, the crime rate in Newark is such and such, such and such and such. If I want to eradicate or somehow lessen what can I do? And AI just came up with everything for you. And then you can tell that you didn't come up with it because when it was time to explain it, you were unable to.
Or when
Dead
you can't,
headlights.
or when you can't catch the mistake, or that something in AI makes. If you read something back, you be like, that don't quite make sense.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's one thing to research something and then, you trust your own research, but this is not your research.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
This is a random machine, some robot somewhere that gave you this.
Exactly. And I found myself getting into a debate with somebody who relied on AI that gave out wrong information. And I'm like, I have the source. Like, I have the source, right? Oh, but Chat GPT said, I hear you, but you can't rely on that 100%.
Well, Chat GBT definitely is inaccurate. That's probably one of the more. I'm sure some research is going to come out soon to tell you that's probably one of the more flawed ones.
So you see where I'm coming from with that. Yeah. And I'm like going back and forth, and I'm like, wow, this person really is an idiot. And they're running for office.
I can tell from one person in particular, like they had to write something up. And the something is not even what we do. So you had to maybe just do environmental justice, and plastics came up, and you recognized plastics from being one of the campaigns, but not for my department that you're applying for. I do ports, not plastic. But
Right.
you're telling me all about plastic because you use AI to
Right.
answer the question. You see what I'm saying? Versus
Right.
looking at going on my going on, Foles website, looking up the oceans, or what I did with candidates too. I sent them campaign information. Nothing says plastics.
And I think it's something.
Then the flyers, y'all all got the same flyer. Y'all all use the same.
That became funny when all the flyers was looking the same. I think Reverend Spate was on. Everybody asked about with the flyers though, because he was making them damn flyers. I told him he was the king of bingo.
Right, like, come on, we got some graphic designers in Newark. Let them put that together.
Yeah.
Again, I used to tell people that. Why not hire younger people on your campaigns to do for you campaigns that have the 6 figures and stuff? Hire young people to do your websites and design your literature, not the white multi-$1,000 agencies or $1 million agencies that charge you all this money to do something people in the community can do.
The cookie cutter, and then it's giving you a cookie cutter.
Yeah, It's not cultural. You can tell there's no personality with it. You can tell when somebody puts their personality into their campaign. Like I actually like the colors that Alter White had. I like something that way it stood out to me basically.
Nice.
It wasn't a normal campaign color that people would use. You know what I'm saying? Orange and I think blue or something like that. But to me, I can tell that was something that reflects him. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. So I that goes into the lack of civic engagement and the lack of civics that's being taught in our schools.
And what we allowing organizations like the NAACP to get away with. When organizations like the NAACP is so glorifying to politicians versus
you said the NAACP who?
Yeah. Well, I've been saying this about the NAACP. And again, I realize it doesn't have to be about people for me to make a point about a nonprofit.
That forum was
the political action side, I think, is the weakest side. One is too many indications that people are getting questions earlier or sooner, and this has been rumored for several elections. And when I go back and look at some of the videos, I can kind of see that maybe being the case. But either way, what people are trying to say is it doesn't seem fair enough or transparent enough for you to be the NAACP. Then you are so aligned with these people who are actually suppressing the vote. Why the hell are y'all? What are y'all doing besides registering people to vote?
And they
you ain't putting resources and pulling them out to vote.
No
and
outreach.
When you do it, you're not doing it as the organization. So it's the face of these organizations, the chairs, the president, some of the board members who are besties with whoever the favorite politician is right now. And they don't do nothing, or what they do only benefits those people. It doesn't help to.
Mm-hmm. And that's wild to me. Even if, let's say I was Mayor Raz.
Yeah.
And I had the NAACP supporting me, I would feel like I need y'all to be fair. Mm-hmm. I need y'all to make this not one-sided.
what actually is support? Supporting your agenda or supporting your campaign? Because NAACP is supposed to support your campaign. Right.
Support the community.
Right.
Like, you may like me as individuals.
Right.
Working for the NAACP, but the NAACP as an organization, I need you to be neutral.
You're supposed to be. But that doesn't mean that you can't be informative. Tell everybody about the election. Text all them 100,000 voters you talking about that there's an election. You don't tell them who to vote for. You just tell them it's election day.
Exactly. Do the outreach.
You can send. You can send out. You can create a website that has every candidate on it, and they can put a message on there, and then you send that out so that people you can be a resource for information instead of placating the things that are holding us back.
Right.
The NAACP, when I think of NAACP, it sickens me because what comes to my mind again is suppression of the role they play is suppressing vote. When I think of NAACP, I think protecting our rights to vote, making sure that we get to the ballot on election. I think about entities like that, not this political. It's not even theater. It's political aligning that goes on that again protects certain individuals and promotes only other ones, regardless of how good of a job they're doing or not.
Right, and it hurts the legacy of the NAACP. Like
it been tarnished.
To me, it's dead.
When Irvington was getting the most engaged award every year, I knew Newark ain't have nothing to worry about. How we the biggest city and Irvington gets the most active or engaged award, and this kept happening every year. It tells you a lot. You got a different type of leader up there in Irvington, Miss her name is slipping my mind right now. She's gonna slap my face for forgetting it. I'll call her a legend. But yes, research the NAACP president for Irvington. I can't think of her name right now. I believe she's also related to Antoine Willer, Muslim sister, but she don't play.
Nice.
That's what I remember about her.
Nice.
She's one of those people where I remember it was more about we need to expose what freeholders do. We need to get more.
Exactly. What? They could be
she
doing
was supporting that. It wasn't
round.
about an individual candidate. It was about what the candidacy represented, not how many seats from us.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And if we're not running for it, how people gonna know about it?
Exactly. And they need to be doing that throughout the year.
Yes.
Yes.
They need to be doing their own GOTV too. Every election.
And I used to be a member, not as active, but I signed up to be a member for the NAACP back in like 2012, and I'm still on their mailing list now.
Linda Lord made me sign up some years a while ago.
and you can tell when it's a particular season about certain things because their emails just come. They just be hitting you like every day.
They do some great work. I'm talking about the political action stuff and the role they play with that.
That's what I'm talking about, the political action side of things. Like you can tell when it's that season compared to when it's not that season because the stuff comes. But when it's not, it's just like it's very like.
And I just wish people wouldn't stay so long. Like I want to see Leah Owens and Asada Rashidi and Linda Lord be the chair of the president and the executive board. I'm tired of the same people.
They need to change that. Change the leadership. Change the leadership.
I don't know why people want to be in leadership roles for more than 20 years.
But that was something that even in 2014 I proposed. I said
it's too long.
Let's do what New York since Jersey like to copy New York so damn much. But it was a great idea. But it was a great idea. Like turn it into a full-time position, particularly Newark. Get your 6-figure salary because y'all giving yourself pay raises all the damn time anyway.
Right.
But the thing is you only can do 3 terms.
I think 3 terms is more than fair for anybody.
Which is 12 years and you move on. My thing is if
3 terms.
Yeah, because I always look at it this way. The first 4 years, you're kind of
figuring it out.
You're figuring it out, but the person who was in there before you kind of still got their mess and the stuff that they tried to implement still going through.
Especially if they left you dead roses and hired kids that wasn't hired.
Exactly. So then now you clearing things out the first 4 years, and then your next 2 terms is now you implementing stuff that you want to get done. And my thing has always been, if you couldn't do stuff within 12 years, well, what the hell makes you think I'm going to trust you to do things in 16, 20, 24,
And
28 years?
Right.
Like,
It's over.
and if every single time you get, part of it too, I think is like, it's not even about if you can get it done in 12 years. We also, if you can't, you just can't. I don't care if you was the greatest legend
Right.
every time.
Mhm.
Obama has to
Beat
go. Trump gotta
Beat it.
go. Somebody
Beat
gotta
it.
go. Okay, so
Yeah, beat it.
Yeah.
but I guess the other part for me is once they retire, why we got to dig them back out of the grave, retirement grave, to put them back in office? Because we don't want to push forward young leadership. So we want somebody old and retired to hold this spot for us because we can manipulate them. Stop doing that. When we keep asking, well, what should we be doing different? That. And that starts at home.
So can we get an initiative on a ballot for term limits?
We talked about this for a long time, but I think having a Donna Jackson up there might be possible. I think it was a mix of folks, particularly under the Booker brand, who just didn't want to do term limits because I think certain people want to die in office.
And get lifetime benefits.
But again, that becomes
for some people that's their aspiration. The moment my legs stop working, my neck stop working, take my ass out of office. I don't want to sit in there and just be old and
right. Me either.
The moment I call down to the state, no matter where I'm at, and they say you can retire, I'm out.
I don't want my council people going to the bathroom on themselves. If it's time to go, it's time to go. And I don't want you going out of nowhere. Give me a heads up. I want to see you working with some people, like cultivating them and building them up over 4 years. You know what I'm saying? Don't just leave us hanging in 30 days, 60 days, because now we scrambling to see who should be there and all of that kind of stuff.
Right.
So that's where I say I
like to see more of that.
That's why I try to separate the different levels of government, because for me, even though I do want these Renee, I'm not gonna say old, these seasoned people to move out of office, I understand why you have the Jim Clyburns and oh God, the lady from California. Oh my God, oh my God.
Go enjoy your life. Go enjoy
what is the lady
your
from? What is the congresswoman from? What is the congresswoman from California? Oh God, she always cursing too. Oh, the lady too. Damn, I can't think of her name right now. Maxine Waters. And a lot of them older black elected officials federally, I see why they're still in. And it took a conversation, me listening to a conversation with me listening to Roland Martin. Why? And he said something like, he said it's on a federal level, it's about seniority.
Yes.
So when a lot of our black elected officials on a federal level were getting elected, they were at the bottom.
Right.
And you got to think it was a lot of people ahead of them who were even still in office, like a Joe Biden, who were ahead of them.
That's very
so when a lot of those people are now either moved on, retired, or died off because of how things are set in place at the federal level for seniority is concerned.
Right.
Now our people are now able to be put into these positions of power as far as chair is concerned.
Okay.
So let's just say, for instance, the Democrats reclaim power in November. We're going to see a lot of our people now chair a lot of these committees to where they wouldn't have been able to before because they had to wait in line based off of seniority.
I got you on that.
So when Roland Martin broke it down on that instance, I said, okay, I get it. But after those 2 years, you gotta go. You gotta go.
But that's on a federal level.
Yeah, so that's why I said
it's a little different federally. And what I will add to that, because it's true, right?
Right.
But here is still the problem we're having, and it starts with the whole politics is local.
Mm-hmm.
It's still too few people of color in federal government.
That's true too.
So it's way more white racist men. The longer they stay, the more racist they are. They can't not be racist. They so damn racist. See what I'm saying? They've been racist for all of our life. You get what I mean? What's going to get too old to change? And so if we not looking at the full landscape and even other midterm elections in other places, we not focusing on the full picture. We'll still have 4 and hope Cory Booker don't leave, wait, there until he 80 and 90 and still got this much actually done. And so I would like to see more people of color in Congress, basically. Now, what I also add to that is if you don't begin to cultivate the Maxine Waters and the thises and that's that you are impressed with at that level, if you don't put them in office locally, how are they going to become Barack Obama?
Exactly.
If you don't want to support him as how could he even see he could be president?
Right.
That alone, regardless of his politics, his agenda items, that platform, it's what they represent is the impossible dream. And the way they did it, with grace, with class, everything they're complimented about, including their kids.
So I think that's where I go back to our, because I'm gonna stick with Jersey because we stay in Jersey. I think that's where our Black organizations lost its way, because organizations like the NAACP,
they used to get busy back in the day.
We're supposed to be those entities, right? Who's supposed to go up and down the state and get their local branches within the state and be like, yo, you in Summit, we need to find some Black people that we can run and shake this up, or we need to go down to Long Beach and Long Branch and all these areas, and we need to shake this up.
And stop spending all this money on voter registration when you're not raising money or investing money in voter turnout. You can register all the hell you want, but if you ain't communicating with those new registered voters consistently, we keep going back to that term, consistently, it's a waste of time. Y'all get all that money, make y'all feel good, register. They don't vote.
They registered 10,000 people. How many voted?
We got to register people. Where is the new age other shit we got to do? And like I said, I want to see NAACP and the Democratic Party get us all band access the way it was intended to be before they politicize it or privatize it with the Democratic Party. So now the local chairmen decide who gets access to that. That's a huge advantage over any candidate. Just them having access to the band system. So if it's only the people who are on the inside, the incumbents, who has access to it every election, again, we put in any new candidate, or more importantly, we're not creating a fair space or a relevant space, I want to call it. Certain things that we should have access to help us build our political capital, to help us increase our political value. But when it's only the handful of the in crowd that wants to hold on to the information, gatekeep the information, and when they didn't have it and they had to use police sheets, they was flustered. Now you got access to it and you're doing the same thing.
That you used to complain about.
How do you take a play?
Have to do it.
How do you take a play from the oppressor's playbook? That's the part I'm like, what?
I'm telling you, NAACP Hall of Records, every election it should be like that. Once people get certified, you get invited to submit your bio in this portal online. It's going out to the mass voter base. We should know what voter base, what demographics. We should know which ward is it going out in.
Absolutely.
Be able to sit in a training session and have that. Then teach us how to use the band system. Once the election over, you just take access. It works by emails. But at least that's showing me you want to increase the voter turnout. Not for one candidate, for just our elections period. And let the people make their choice.
Exactly.
So there's little things we can do that don't cost a whole shitload of money, and really that could just be reallocated or allocated in existing budgets. And again, it won't cost no more. It won't cost as much as the 24 hours of no peace. It won't cost nowhere near as much as that. I can tell you that.
Well,
that's a waste.
Well, we're gonna get a lot of people running now because all you need is 100 signatures.
And it's something too that the process should be much shorter. I mean, longer. You need more time to run. It only benefits the incumbents in short races like that.
So my question is, do you think cities like Newark should move their elections to November, or they shouldn't? I don't think they should, because I still think something like that benefits an incumbent.
Leroy Jones is going to run Newark if you do that.
Yeah, that's what I still think.
And I don't know if people want that. I'm not saying nothing against Leroy, but Leroy's an East Orange guy. he takes care of East Orange people. And if you give the Democratic Party Newark, you can forget about it.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, that's Jesus. Oh Jesus.
But they tried it under the former Sheila Oliver. They tried it under her. And Newark pushed back like a motherfucker. They wanted to move our school board and our municipal election into November. You think you're struggling to have choices now, you'll be like one fish in the middle of the biggest ocean.
So another thing is, do you think Jersey as a whole should move into something called like ranked choice voting?
What's that?
So ranked choice voting is basically like, so let's just say, I'm just use us three.
They do that in New York, right?
Yeah, they do it in New York, they do it in Maryland, they do it in a lot of places, and it works. And it comes to show that it works. So let's just say us three, and I add one person, Joe Schmo, run it. So I go into the ballot and I say my first choice is Czezre, my second choice is Shakima, my third choice is Terrance, and Joe Schmo is the fourth choice. So they'll take everybody who voted for me first. They take everybody who voted for Shakima first, everybody who voted for you first, and everybody who voted for Joe Schmo first. Let's say Shakima comes out on top, I come second, but you come second, I come third, and then Joe Schmo come fourth. Joe Schmo is now out.
Okay.
So they'll take Joe Schmo ballots, and then they look at everybody who voted.
I kind of like that.
And everybody who voted for him first, they'll then see who voted for Czezre second, or Terrance Bankston second, or Shakima Thomas second.
And is the vote to get to just a certain amount of candidates, or is it based on the number of people who apply, basically?
So it's basically to get to one central candidate. Okay. In a nutshell. So it'll keep going. So let's just say now it's just us three. After Joe Schmo was later eliminated, it's us three. And so now after the second round of votes go through, it end up being Terrance Bankston and Shakima Thomas. So then they'll take my ballots of people who voted for me first and see how they rank you and Shakima.
Right. Oh, okay.
And then from there, they'll tally up those votes. And then they'll say, now this is who came out on top based off of, it's almost like a process of elimination.
Yeah, I like that idea because in a situation particularly where it seems like it can give balance to the fact that there's such a low requirement now to get certified as a candidate for the say the municipal race. But I could see in a race like where it was the 19 at-large people, if there was a process like that, right, it would have motivated people to get behind other candidates based on the fact that they were, we like to say viable candidates. You can always kind of like tell, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like in this election, people were machines, scientists, everybody was underestimating our girl.
Child, some people were saying, some people kissing
because of, but they're looking at the number of people voting, and then they're used to where Donna comes because Donna pulls votes.
Yes,
she usually will come out of certain place. But again, consistency matters, and in this political game, timing does matter. The longer you stay in it, hell, if I would have ran this time or ran next time, it could have been the time, right? But for me, I see it as it's almost like having a convention, but I don't think we should do it the way the county does it, where it's the district leaders that's making that decision. Because we already know the district leaders are pretty much controlled and paid for the most part, or they only engage when they have to go vote for something. Whereas their primary role is to ensure we have fair and healthy elections. Healthy meaning bring out your district.
Right.
And you can still, even with the ranked choice process, you can still have runoffs, because again, if you have 4 candidates and you do process elimination, then you can always still get to the top 2. Okay, now these people go into the runoff in June. So that can still happen. But like you said, I think if we go to the ranked choice process, it gives people the conviction to understand that, to give them to understand that they could push for more than one candidate.
Yes,
like they can have they have a choice.
Yeah, I also like when something isn't working for us, we try something new. What's wrong with that? And the best thing you tell me is that it's working in other areas. Yeah, that's similar to us.
And what statistics have shown and research has shown is that it has shown the voter. It made the voter feel
that their vote counted. Yeah.
Oh wow! What happened to Czezre?
Each time I went out, because one of my devices went dead. It might be.
Oh,
And I'm so busy talking, I'm not paying attention to the battery level.
Oh, we gotta wrap it up though. I know I had y'all on for a long time.
It never feels as long as it is when I'm on with you. That's what I noticed. It's always great conversation.
No. People be called, even when my phone do not be on do not disturb. I forgot I give certain people access to still be able to beat that do not disturb wall, so they call me.
Yeah.
But I would say the research showed that even when they was talking to voters, they were saying to them, now I feel like my vote matters.
Yeah.
Right.
In a nutshell, to where now if you talk to people, they feel, especially in Jersey and Newark, they feel like their vote don't matter.
Yeah.
So like you said,
yeah. We should try something new that might bring people out.
It's almost like, I hate to use this man saying down at the White House, but like he said back in 20, what do you got to lose?
Right.
At this point,
right.
Why not try something new? People in New York and DC and Maryland and other places, they were so against it. Now they love it
because it was new.
Was new, right? And now they love it, and it's working. It's really working. So it's like why Jersey should try it, or Newark should try that.
You can phase in, like you can try with the school board race first.
Mm-hmm.
Then if it works, phase it into.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It don't have to be one overhaul.
Yeah. So but again, that's what happens when you don't have people in place who understand their position of power that they're in, and then when you have people who are stuck in their old ways about certain things.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I don't want to hear, and I heard somebody said that as a council meeting yesterday, I no longer want to hear people saying that the young people can't effectively legislate or be in government, because
but that could be true for any group of people.
Right, but it just so happens is that people put the onus on young people that they can't do it, and now what I'm seeing now around this country, like you about to see a young lady in DC who's about to be a mayor. She's a millennial. You're seeing it in New York with Mamdani. I don't care how people feel about this man, but he's getting shit done.
His constituents feel great about him. I can tell you that the majority.
Look, he done
kicking ass over there and dancing his ass off.
Everything that they said. Look, I was dancing with that man on Saturday. That man is a good time. He's
genuine. He's being himself. That's what I like. And
right.
He's smart. You see what I'm saying?
And everything that people said that he couldn't do because X, Y, and Z is going to happen, it hasn't happened. They said if he taxes these businesses and the rich, they're going to leave. They have not left. You come out to the landlords are going to leave. They didn't go nowhere. When they gonna
go to New Jersey?
Right. They said that he couldn't do universal health, not universal health, universal free pre-K and kindergarten. He's done it. Like, so all the things that they said he couldn't do, he's doing, because he's like, look, this is the power that I have under the Constitution, and I'm doing it. Period.
This young lady that's a good friend of mine, she's in her early 30s, single mom. She beat the incumbent, who's an older, seasoned politician in Fort Valley, Georgia, not just the first time, but also in the runoff, by several hundred votes, both times. Half the town is white, half the town is black, and it's a university town. And Fort Valley is in Peach County, which makes the town itself, it's like the tale of two towns. One side you got $1 million homes, and the other side you don't. So it's a lot of opportunity. Okay. And the people said, I want change, and I'm gonna take this new young lady who's running for the second time. She went to school there. She's originally from Georgia, but not from Fort Valley. But she stayed there after she graduated. And so she ran last time for council, didn't win. This time she ran for mayor, least likely win. So what you're saying, Czezre, is true. There is a pattern of new leadership. I told you about Jersey. We talked about it. It's not just one of the most corrupt. We treat our young people horrible there. I like to give the example that we plant the seed and then we put a rock over it. To me, New Jersey has
that was good.
Its lack of evolution and bridging the gap between generations.
Look, Belleville just elected a 24-year-old mayor.
So it's not about. it's definitely not about age. You know what I'm saying? And then I leave them with this, because they love Jesus and they love Martin Luther King. Well, how old was David? And how old was Martin Luther King? When the difference is we used to send the best to represent us because we didn't want to be embarrassed. So they had to speak good, look good, dress good. That mattered.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I do know if certain people would have knew he would have became so infamous, they would have hated more on him and probably tried to not select him.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Because motherfuckers want to be popular and a celebrity. That's not what he was selling. That's why it happened for him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas
And-
no matter what, when we look at our president, more people see him as a reality star or
Yeah.
a corporate person, not a politician, not their president. Presidents supposed to make you feel good, not bad.
Lord Jesus.
You get what I'm saying?
Lord Jesus.
Yeah.
Lord Jesus. And you touched a lot of points, and I'm so glad you used that analogy. We plant the seed, but then we put a rock over it, and that's out throughout this state, and it's sad.
Throughout the state,
It's really, really sad. And the only way they take the rock off top of you or inch it away from you a little bit if you kiss in the ring.
Mm.
And then even that, they not watering the plant. They just waiting for you to it to rain.
Mm.
That's it. That's it. Because I can almost assure you, if you go to everybody in this state who's holding chairmanships and running the Democratic Party and this, that, and the third, you ask them who y'all mentoring to take over after y'all go. I bet you all of them be like,
Nobody.
Whoever's willing to be the next biggest slave or placeholder, that's who we'll take.
Right.
That's why they don't know. And that's why there's no real, what is it, a transition plan.
Right.
They don't plan for it. It just happens. Most of the experience I've had, particularly locally, and again, with the Black politicians, for them, they don't see another person. They see their son or their daughter.
Mm-hmm.
What's up with that?
It's easier. And what I'm starting to learn is it keeps lucrative, decent salaries sometimes in one household.
It keeps it rolling.
Wow.
Keeps it rolling. But
coming in from one office into one household, they like her.
I think people are just, I don't know what it is with our people, but I feel like they just have a sense of they're afraid to lose power. But I always said to myself, if when you were in those positions, if you were doing the work, you would never lose your power, whether you're in there or not.
Exactly.
People are always going to give you that respect and that love, whether you hold that title presently or you no longer. Because they're going to say
collective power anyway. It's supposed to be collective.
And I was having a conversation with somebody just last night, and I was saying to them, I was like, "Yo, if I was Leroy Jones, and I'm at my age of 60-something years old, and I've done assumed the power of being the chairman of New Jersey, and like at some point, I was saying to them, when do you sit down and you say to yourself, I want to start planting seeds to make sure that my legacy lasts forever. Not saying planting seeds to where I'm only putting my family in positions, but putting people in position like, okay, I got Mikey. Okay, we can use her. I got the first woman elected, and in this state, far as women is concerned. I got the youngest person elected here, the first LGBTQ person here, the first trans person here, the first Black person elected here, the first person. Like, when do you sit down and say to yourself, I want to start moving like that, and then start mentoring people to take certain positions in certain areas or certain levels of government, or even within the Democratic committee, and move it forward? Like, when do we start thinking like that?
I think people think they are moving it forward
with their kids.
I think they're moving it forward with the people who they believe that they can control and work better with.
Yep.
However, it's almost like just talking to themselves. If that makes sense. And
the echo chamber.
If I gave you examples, some of those people are very nice people. They'll take it personal, but they know.
No, don't get no. We don't put them out there, but we know. And you know what? That's
when
the
you
crazy
involved,
thing.
you know.
They are very nice, but it's like you hurting us overall.
Yeah.
Well, I know for certain people, it's like, well, it doesn't matter what you're asked to do or needed to do. If, for example, Leroy doesn't say you can do it, it won't get done. So there you go.
They just recycle the same dog chasing his tail. That's true. Lisa do be having some good sayings like damn stuff too.
Yeah.
But it's so
He
funny
said,
because that's so funny because I've been missing the past couple of council meetings, and I like to write my speeches out. People be like, "Oh, you sound so good," but I be forgetting shit, so I gotta write stuff down.
Right.
So and one of my
whatever
one
way
of
it
my
works for you, that's how you get it done. As long as it's
Look.
genuine.
period. Look, I rather have stuff written down and people understand what I'm saying than people going up there sound like a goddamn.
Well, especially when you're time, because you're trying to stay within that
5
time.
minutes.
Within that
You know what
5
I'm saying?
minutes.
True. Yeah.
And people don't understand that 5 minutes. You be thinking it's long, and they be like, you look
go
up, and they be
fast.
like 2 minutes left.
It goes slow to some of them council people. I know that.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember at one point there was no sign up list and there was no time.
Yeah.
For the council meetings.
Ooh.
That's what people don't understand.
Yeah, but I remember some of those nights. Them people would be there at 1, 2 o'clock in the
1, 2
morning.
o'clock.
Like, Lord have mercy.
That's when you earned your
And
paycheck
trash
for
still
real.
getting picked up. Taxes still high.
Right. So, but one of my messages was going to be to our generation and them understanding that it's time for us to wake up, because even though I like to use the word gerrymander, because our own people are we're basically gerrymandering ourselves because we don't.
Yeah.
When are we going to wake up? Because if we don't, within the next 10, 15 years, that council is not going to look like us. That's I can tell you within the next 10, 15 years, when Lion Gate's being built up and other stuff being built up downtown, the way they're trying to connect the PAV train now to the airport and all that stuff like that, I assure you, within the next 10 to 15 years, we're going to wind up having a white person on that council again.
Well, I don't think it's nothing wrong with a white person being on the council, but I
not.
believe that the city is being set up to have a white mayor back on the council.
Yeah.
I mean, back running the city, because what happens for us, black people, we love to vote for white people. We are the most forgiving race. We are fair. If you are the better candidate,
if you're good, right? If you're good, cool.
What color you are, and some of us don't want anything all black. I mean, it's not.
So what is it because of that? It was whipped into us, or is it that's just the way we were created?
I think that it's a couple of things, which again is another thing.
Right, it's a whole nother thing now, right?
We are okay with accepting crumbs. I think that's okay. It's go back to what I told you about the guns and garbage and the rats and roaches. If you think that that's okay, it's okay.
That's not okay, man.
And I don't know. I think that again, people are dealing with a lot of internal challenges and struggles that they're just not happy, whether it's their career, whether it's their relationships, it could be with their kids, it could be with their counterpart, it could be, with themselves. I think people are dealing with so much internal struggle, and so much positive has been taken out of our communities, out of our schools, out of our parks, whatever. Culture really lacks. I mean, all these murals that go up, they look more like graffiti. If I'm gonna send y'all some pictures of some of the murals that's right here downtown.
Wow.
It's art. It's a difference.
Right.
And it's not about a political legacy. It's not about this. It's about telling the story of Houston and how people of color are integrated here through art, through museum exhibits and things of that nature. I mean, when was the last time Symphony Hall was really thriving with shows?
I don't remember.
I can't even tell you.
I don't even remember.
Sure, it wasn't during my adulthood.
Me either.
We no longer can go to our community and see plays. Why? Or concerts, unless it's at the Prudential Center. But Symphony Hall has a place too.
Right. For the local community.
Programs out for performing arts.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I'm going to let you gentlemen wrap it up, because I thank you for your time too. I really appreciate y'all staying on this long and engaging with the audience and giving your insights. I really, really appreciate y'all so much.
This helps me. I enjoy engaging with people from my city and people who look like me, who want to share information. But I hope too, and I think it will. It's not going to change the city overnight. But somebody's gonna watch this and say, you know what? I knew I wasn't crazy.
Right.
I am gonna go do this, and I am gonna go take that action. Or they learned something different today because they might not have seen it that way.
Right.
And I don't think we talk so much about trauma. We gave things a name, and we also said, well, these are some possible solutions. And we also pay homage to things that have worked before and that we valued before. What is consistent is that we need some new, not just new energy, new ways of thinking. And you can't think like Shakima, you can't think like Czezre, and you can't think like Terrance. And so if we are not a part of something in an organic way, you might be depriving yourself from being able to accomplish something that's important to you. But more importantly, I think what is consistent about all of us, we care about people and community for real. And there's many things we can offer to that. And because we have those transferable skills, we don't have to be, my seed wasn't planted by somebody that will put me under a rock.
Right.
In other words. And I have my own landscaper, so ain't nobody coming to do my garden and I don't trust.
I know that's right.
That's out with that.
Okay. So look, I know I came 1 hour late.
I'm sure we'll be on again soon. We have stuff.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed the conversation. I hope conversations like this can keep happening because it needs to happen, especially amongst our group. Because at some point we are going to be the ones to take the mantle and have to lead things forward.
Right.
I think.
Or we're gonna be the campaign manager for the next white mayor.
Right.
I'll take it. If he's good, I'll take it. If he's good and he really he's in the community. I was given
look,
by
he got South
2050.
Central and West already, whoever he is.
All right, look.
I know he out there somewhere.
Right. I was told the date is the year is 2050 that this is planned to happen.
But if Anibal wants to be mayor, I think people will vote for him. I think
I would definitely
people will be okay with that. Wouldn't be a big struggle.
I would
other than that, I don't really see a next one coming from anywhere else. I see Anibal probably in a stronger position than others. I do think people are going to be exhausted unfortunately, from a black mayor after these next 4 years. They're just not going to want to go there. And it's not. I don't think it's about color. They're just going to want to see something totally different.
Yes,
and that's going to fit.
It was the same thing with the Cory Booker thing. They would, Sharp James was good. He had his moments, and I think they wanted something fresh and new.
And that's also why he didn't run that time. He didn't want to lose to Cory Booker.
Right.
Yes, I'm out. You know what I'm saying? Like, seriously. So there is something to that. But even Cory Booker, the community didn't do what it was supposed to do. It was at a thing where the city had to be reset. If all these people he just came in and parachuted in the city. No, Carl Sharif ushered him in here with all the Jews that y'all complain about. He didn't just roll his ass in here by himself. So that's one. Black, well-established political operative, well-respected Cory Booker. That's how we know Cory Booker, because of Carl Sharif. I can't speak for everybody, but that's how we know Cory Booker. So when this guy came in, he came in with all of this money, and he wanted everything new. He said, "I'm a beg Mildred to come get on this ticket because she's that institutional church stuff, but we want new. We want new energy. But we also want strong candidates like Dana Roan."
Yeah.
I mean, we were coming. We didn't even have Payne. We wanted Gail. And that's how Payne got on, because we picked up Payne in the runoff. We wasn't going to pick up Payne.
Wow.
Payne came in 5th place.
Wow.
And Gail wanted to run on her own that particular election, and she thought she can get it, done on her own, which is understandable. And the Cory Booker thing was still, I think, a little sensitive at that time. But I've always seen that somebody that can really work with anybody. Gail knows government.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She knows her stuff.
That didn't, unfortunately, nothing against Congressman Payne, but my generation, we wanted something different. We didn't have that same endearing nature that Kim Gaddy's and others have for the Paynes. We felt like we want something different. We don't feel a part of the South Ward Democratic Committee. We don't feel, where are things that speak to us? They do things that speak to seniors. So it wasn't personal against the Paynes as much. It was just like, that was one of those times when we said we wanted something different. And that's what you experienced, a total difference. And then because it was so different, and I think so good enough, people was conflicted like, is Shavar another Cory Booker? What they would at Cory Booker, Shavar, we don't really know you. You keep talking about the Boys and Girls Club, but everybody don't go to the Boys and Girls Club, so that can't be your claim to the hood fame, right? And so now you're making me choose between somebody I know and somebody I really don't know. And that's why the mayor was able to pull that election out. Also, because Shavar didn't have enough more time. By the time Anibal got out the race, you can see it in the numbers how close it was. The candidate that they knew well, he was like the Donna Jackson. He ran, he's name recognition, boom, boom, boom. But all the millions of dollars that once they got pulled from Anibal and was able to go into Shavar's campaign, those 3 months of putting millions into him, all that money, and bringing across new alliances. Shavar didn't just move forward with who he wanted to move forward with, or just his initial campaign team members. He took some people from Anibal. He took some people from Cory Booker. I was one of those people who was originally on Anibal's ticket, then transferred over to Homeboy. They just didn't want to put me in the bracket, which is we'll talk about that a whole nother time. But on the ticket. And so when the election came out that way, it was saying we want to give Baraka his turn. And when they gave him his turn, on Shavar's side, it's all some of Cory Booker people and new people. And when I say that, it's Carlos Gonzalez. Then you had Alexa Lloyd, who was known as a Baraka person back in the day. Then you had me, who was known as Booker, but he's also Terrance. And all of that was mixed in on what was considered new. And what the city said they wanted was the Hispanics have their seats, the East Ward have their seats, and when it comes to these black seats, all of y'all are gonna have to share just these. That makes sense. And then they jump us. I mean, they put Congress people on us during election time, and freeholders and county execs.
Wow.
Why all of y'all jumping on the underdogs?
Wow.
Y'all win by how many votes, and y'all choose to do that? Because you want to be discouraging to people to run.
Yeah.
Y'all like to crush people like they roaches, but you don't want to help get rid of the roaches. That makes sense? And no, do this to you if you don't do what I say. And we have to stop wanting to crush each other just because we don't do what one person or one fraction wants us to do.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree with that.
All right. I guess we got to let you go now.
Before we be on here for another 2 hours.
For real. I enjoyed myself though, and
maybe that's what we do. Maybe we do a show where it's like a group like this once a month where we just kind of talk about, well, what's up, like what you working on, what you got going on, and that type of thing. Always there's enough conversation, enough topics that I think we all care about to talk about. But I think again, it's about us being consistent first in what we want in this group, and then as we build out, it can be the damn Jeopardy board or whatever you want to call it.
Exactly.
Of all of us trying to just figure it out.
We can add some more people on.
I think so.
Definitely.
I agree.
I would say add the people you want to add, because everybody you can't talk to. Everybody you can't be.
I mean, people who have a brain.
Your experience and your expertise. That's what I would say. Not everybody.
People who have a brain. Okay.
Who could think for themselves.
Yeah, there we go. And that's committed to action too.
Yeah.
Because we got enough talkers. We just did 3 hours.
That's right.
Easily.
It didn't break a sweat.
No. I feel like I was just getting started.
Right.
So pick a date that works for y'all. I'm usually free in the evenings anyway, and I can do it from wherever. So
your evenings work for me too.
All right, let me note that. I'm noting that.
I think this time works perfect because it's like right after work, and I can just keep it rolling.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right. So I keep y'all in the loop about it.
Okay.
Look, Miss Parker said that part everything ain't for everybody.
Absolutely.
There you go. There you go. It sure ain't. It sure ain't.
All right. So any last comments? Any of you? That's it.
I ain't got
All right. Well,
nope.
this is okay. This has been, current exposure. I have fun with you guys. And I'll see y'all later. Peace. I'm out.